Check, check, 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. 1, 2.
pleased to report. I'm moving from that side so they can get up center and see you. Let's see the board members.
They were cute. Two of them didn't get there till about 10 to 5. But
Oh my goodness, that's two. The boys.
no, yeah, the great big boy and then the young.
I'm ready because we got an hour's worth.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to call it to order and call on you. You're going to go to the podium?
Well, don't you think I should?
Yeah, I think that's better. I would like to call the meeting to order and welcome you to this early version of the board, February 20th meeting. We will begin with a board budget workshop, the first of several for the year's planning process, and Chancellor Hadley will lead us in that effort.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening to all the board members and especially to all of our TCC employees and students. And we have a few guests, and I'm going to take a point of personal privilege at this point and ask the 5 students who are here. I'd say 5. There may be students from other programs. But tonight we are honored to have 5 of our Chancellor's Emerging Leaders Scholars here with us this evening. And I want to give a special thanks to Alex, I'm not sure where she is, for making sure that they got here. And they have been very, very excited about the opportunity to meet with President Appleman, who has given them a really good orientation about what board members do and how they fit in here at Tarrant County College. So I'm going to ask my 5 students to stand up, and they are not shy. And I want you to introduce yourselves. Just tell us your name and which campus you're on and what you're studying. We'll start over here. Chelsea who? Tell us your holding. Inuguay. Thank you. Pharmacy, great.
Hi, I'm Brenda Roses, and I go to Trinity, and I'm studying for criminal justice.
Okay.
I'm Northeast, and going to school for architect or aeronautical engineer.
Okay.
I'm Matthew Belmont. I go to Southeast Campus, and I'm studying to be a paramedic.
Great. Let's thank them again for coming. We are very proud of our scholars, and sometime soon you'll hear a full presentation on this program. Tonight, this evening, it's not even night, it's not even evening yet, this afternoon late, we are going to talk with you just a little bit about the budget for 2014-15. And we're going to start our presentation tonight. You know, we have been working for a little while on getting the board a good feel for all the properties that we have all over Tarrant County, and I'm very pleased tonight to present Nina Petty, who is our Vice Chancellor for Real Estate and Facilities, to start the presentation. We're winging it just a little bit tonight, but one of our major presenters got tied up in something else, literally tied up, and is not able to be here. So it's between Nina and her helper, Marshall. Okay, Nina, take it away. And it's just gonna be a quick overview so that you can see, but I think you'll be impressed with this first part. And then the second part will come later, where you're going to get more in-depth information. But this is a helicopter ride.
Helicopter ride.
Yes.
Thank you, Chancellor. Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Appleman. As the Chancellor said, last board meeting, you actually approved a contract with Dunaway Associates, and that contract was to survey all our properties. Now, we've done surveying over the years, but we've never really done a holistic viewpoint of our land holdings. And so this will document our easements. It will show us any encumbrances, and it will assist us in understanding really overall all our campuses. And the exciting part about it is that the piece that we're going to talk about tonight is that it's going to help us identify the marketability and the viability and valuation of parcels that we might use in a public-private partnership. So as a part of that Dunaway contract, Jones Lang LaSalle and Todd Burnett, who's not here this evening, who's the managing director, has been brought in to help us with that piece to identify and then value these pieces. And as a very preliminary part of this, they're documenting all our parcels online. And Marshall Mays, who is the analyst here, who's winging it with me tonight, and I just found out, this was a little factoid, Marshall's father and I, Bobby Mays, went to elementary school at Bluebonnet together. And I said, the only person I know named Mays is Bobby Mays. He says, it's my father. So we just met this evening, and so I'm glad to have you, Marshall, here winging it with me as we go through. So we're going to start right here at the Mayoan building, Marshall, and Todd's much better at this than I am, but anyway, I'll try to take you through. And this is their system and their program. But here we are at the Mayoan Center. As you can see, our property and our parking across the way out there on Throckmorton. And then, Marshall, we're going to take them right downtown to our land holdings on the north side of the downtown. And there you see them zipping around, doing a roundabout of our Trinity River project. And the red towers is who we lease to Radio Shack, those two towers. And the land holdings that right there west of Henderson right there is where we share parking with the Water District and a parcel that we own there. This does not lay out the land exchange properties that we're working on with the Water District. And here Marshall's going to hone in on our Trinity River East campus. And you can go swing right down there. The parcels to the right are the parking, of course, and you can see it. It spans both sides of Weatherford there. And then across the river is the holdings that we were fortunate to keep a hold of that are very valuable as the Trinity River Vision is developing. On the left side, you can see, Marshall, you hone in a little bit on the electric building there and the property that goes with it. And on the right is a parcel that's adjacent to what the cats are doing with their parcels back there. Now I think we're going to zip over to Tarrant County Opportunities Center down 820. We're flying down here. And here we are at the Opportunities Center, and as you know, we've acquired an additional parcel out there, so we have a fairly nice sizable property there. You can kind of swing around that. You see the buildings there on the left side of the screen. And we have an item on the agenda for the Opportunity Center tonight that you'll hear about a little later. I think we're going to zip over to the South Campus, and we'll show you where we're about to have a groundbreaking for our Energy Technology Center that's coming up, I think, Peter, on March 3rd at 1:30, so we're all excited about that groundbreaking happening there. And I think Marshall has got where you can see actually where the building is going to be placed on that campus, so that's kind of cool. And maybe you pull up a little bit, Marshall, and let them see how that plays into that whole campus area. And then we're going to take you down to Crowley, just so you can see. Yeah. Okay, great. So there's 20 right there at the lower end of the screen. Coming in on Campus Drive, you can see up there to the left. And again, the South Campus is 159 acres, and we have 600,000 square feet of buildings on that campus today. So now we're going to fly down to Southeast. Oh, I'm sorry, Crowley, right. We're going to go to the Crowley Center. Crowley Center is called the Bill R. Johnson Career and Technical Center, and it is a little over 20,000 square foot building. Right there in green, you can see. And now we're going to fly down to our Southeast Campus in Arlington, and we can show you again the construction that is now underway for the early college high school at the Southeast Campus, which is great. And this campus is 416,000 square feet on 167 acres, and you can see where project is going to be in relationship to the whole campus. There's 360 on the right hand of this screen. Okay, great. I think we're going to head to Northeast Campus now. The Northeast Campus is 666,000 square feet on 187 acres. So you can see the suburban campuses are all fairly similar in acreage and in size of building. There's the Northeast Campus, and I think we asked Marshall to show you there on 26, the green building is where we are looking at putting the early college high school in. And right now, the physical plant, facilities and IT are in that building, but we're going to make room for phase one of an early college high school there at Northeast. And that is the proposed site for the Center of Excellence. And of course, this hasn't, so not our formal name, but we've been calling it the Center of Excellence for Visual and Performing Arts. And it is on that parcel there. Now we're going to swing up to Haltom City to show you the Haltom Center. It's been a quite successful project for us. Now we're going to head out to the Northwest Campus, and so swing around. And again, the square footage on the Northwest Campus is 505,000 square feet on 193 acres, a little bit. In terms of acreage, it's out of all the suburban campuses, it's the largest. And of course, on that beautiful Marine Creek lake, with a lot of trails around it. A lot of growth going on in that arena. And now Marshall's going to take us on a helicopter ride up to Alliance and show us our new, and we do have a name because it's gone through our building convention process, which you'll hear more about later in the board meeting. This is our Northwest Center of Excellence for Aviation, Transportation, and Logistics. And the cool thing about the software here is that Marshall can hone in on that building, and actually he's imported the floor plans that Kirby Chadwell and his team are working on in anticipation for an April move out of the Bell personnel, and then we'll be working on that building April through move in. And I see Clint there in the audience who's pretty excited about getting his hands on this building. Can you pull out, Marshall, and just kind of show it relative to? And that really is it. And we thought this was, I think the Chancellor felt like this was a good opening to a conversation about all our real estate holdings. So I will turn it back over to the Chancellor unless there's any questions about any of the holdings. And as they move forward, so the plan is in the next couple of months, I don't know, Gary Prather, if you know the date of when Dunaway is going to be through with their study, but they're working with title companies, so we're looking at easements and all the stuff that goes into it. Then JLL will get their hands on the information and they'll be inputting it. They're going to be looking at all our real estate to see which parcels might be the most valuable. Then we're going to bring it back to you and make a decision. They'll be able to assign values to those properties and decide how we want to move forward. So we're thinking probably a couple of months. May. So great. Okay. Thank you, Marshall. Appreciate your time. And say hi to your father.
We'll tell Todd that you did an excellent job, Marshall, without him, okay? Very good. Well, board members, I hope you were excited about the helicopter ride. Isn't that impressive for you to be able in just a few minutes to take a good bird's eye view at all of the properties that you own? And just as Marshall zoned into that Bell helicopter, I got to stop saying Bell helicopter. As he zoned into our new Alliance facility, and I can't even think of the name of what we've named it. It is way long, but anyway, our aviation technology facility. just as he zoomed into the floors, the interior floor, he can do that with pretty much any building that you saw there so that you can see how things are going. So when we get the rest of that report, I think you will see that it'll be very easy for you to look at those facts and make the hard decisions. The easy part is looking at all of it. The hard part is making decisions about what you want to do with, say, the electric service building and some of the other parts of that. So that was the first thing that I wanted to talk with you about tonight. The other things I want to look at briefly are the P3 projects, the performing arts, the early college high schools, the charter school on South Campus, the Chevron proposal, sticky spaces, the innovation forum, and finally the financial outlook. The first piece that we're going to do is the public-private partnerships, and I've asked Mark McClendon to come and talk with you about that. Mark?
Good evening, Chancellor. Good evening, Mrs. Appleman, trustees. It's always a pleasure to be able to give you information. So first of all, there's a lot of talk about public-private partnerships. So I wanted to kind of tell you how we at TCC are looking at that concept. First of all, we are looking at it, the board has asked us to diversify our revenue, and this is an opportunity for us to look at it, a goal that you have asked us to do. So this is one of the beginning places to start looking is revenue diversification. It may take us on different streams, but that is our starting process. The other thing that we wanted to do is we want to also have a stronger portfolio for the day of tomorrow. We want to be prepared. Tomorrow is interesting day, and TCC is up to the task for that. The other thing that we look at is this is an organization that's always forward thinking. We're looking forward to what the market brings, and we want to take advantage of not only your land holdings, but how does it serve to you not only economically, but the Chancellor is always reminding us is what can it do for us from an educational perspective. So some of these things can work symbiotically. So how we do this, or how should we approach it, and some of the thoughts. So the first thing that we thought is we really wanted to come up with a plan, and we think the plan has to start off with the board. And in the way, it's the Chancellor and her board, the way that looks at this. So the first thing is the Institutional Planning Committee is going to it's going to work with a financial advisor, and it's going to give us some thoughts on best practices, and then it's going to say, if we're going to do an RFQ, some of the thoughts they will glean between the Chancellor and the Institutional Committee will give us something for the staff for us to bring back to you. We're also going to look at some of the financial models, if we thought about it. So after we go through that process, you'll come back to the staff and we will bring back some best practices. We'll develop guidelines. There's some changes in legislation. I think those changes our legal counsel will be happy to elaborate, or just kidding, Angela. But there's some new laws that are coming in that can have an impact. And so the Institutional Committee will look at this, and they will give us some guidelines, and from there we will go on and we will start with a process. With this process that the Institutional gives us the guidelines, we'll go on. We probably are thinking maybe an RFP would be something to consider. With that thing, you'll be able to bring about, and the Chancellor and the board is going to look at, what is the framing and what is our philosophy on this. But we want to have a very regimented process that really understands, brings about the opportunities. Once those opportunities have come back, they may go back to the Innovation Forum that may provide some guidelines to it. Again, the Chancellor and the board takes a look at those thoughts. They come back to the staff, and then we'll come back, and once you look at that, we'll look at what the economics of the dynamics are. So this is what I think our approach that we have to public-private. Is that good? Any questions? Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, sir.
Mark, what you just said is music to my ears. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Our goal is to make you happy. When I say you, I mean that collectively. It does me no good to make one board member happy, and I've got 6 unhappy. So when I say you, I mean y'all. Next one, please. The next item on the agenda, something that we want to think with you through this budgeting process, is the Center of Excellence for Visual and Performing Arts. As you know, we've been talking about this for quite a long time, in my meeting with the institutional planning committee on Tuesday, I guess it was, I said to them, I am prepared to make a recommendation to the board this year to move forward with that project. We have $8.3 million that's available to us through the North Richland Hills TIF. And we don't know yet how much the building is going to cost. We're still working on that, and we won't know for another few weeks, I suppose, before we'll have that, but we'll have it ready sometime soon. But the next steps at this point, Dr. Darledge and his staff have done a lot of work. And on that previous slide, you saw the names of the people who were champions of the project, and they're still there, ready to go. And so our next steps are to re-engage those champions, to put all of that work through the Innovation Forum in a more formal way. It's already gone through the Innovation Forum from the beginning, but the forum now has been refined significantly since that happened. We have a liaison now on each of our campuses to operate the Innovation Forum and to help the champions get their programs through the process. And then finally, to explore the feasibility of moving forward, as I said before, using the $8.3 million from the North Richland Hills TIF. The Tarrant County College Foundation Board of Directors is also still interested in helping us in some kind of way to get that building. So we'll be talking with you in more details about that as we go through. We are deep into early college high schools. You've heard me say before that one of my goals is to have an early college high school on each of our 5 campuses, and we are about there. The very first one, I'm kind of backwards here, so let me just start with South. South Campus is currently working on 2. You only see one of them up there. The one that's going to cost money is the one with the Fort Worth Independent School District. They're in the process of mobilizing the staffs on both TCC as well as Fort Worth ISD. The superintendent is just as excited about the possibility of getting the school up and running as we are, so it's going very well. We're discussing now the model format and the potential program alignment, and also evaluating site locations for.
No, we're sorry. Moving ahead of the curve.
We are evaluating site locations for a building similar to the Southeast Campus Early College High School. And so I put that one up there because, as you know, the Southeast Campus Early College High School cost us a little bit over $13 million. Arlington ISD is putting in a part of that cost, a small part of that cost. So we're looking at that. The other thing that Dr. Jordan is doing with an early college high school is with the Everman ISD. Everman, however, is interested in the model of a school within a school. They want to keep all of their students on the campus and have the early college high school on their site. And I didn't put it up there, Dr. Jordan and I talked about it, but that isn't going to cost us any money to build anything or retrofit anything. But you'll be hearing more about that model. There are a lot of school districts, small school districts, that prefer that model because they don't want to, quote, lose so many of their student athletes and other students who participate in the arts and other programs, after-school programs. And so that's what we're looking at there. So it's very possible that the South Campus would end up with 2 early college high schools. Our Northwest Campus, as you know, started it all. We're in our 4th year of early college high school on that campus, opened in the fall of 2010, with the partnership, first of all, with Lake Worth ISD, and then later, the Fort Worth ISD joined that partnership, so we have 2 ISDs in that one school. I think there are only 2 or 3 others in the state that have 2 separate ISDs working with the same early college high school. And Dr. LeBlanc and her staff have done an outstanding job working with both of those. The first graduating class would be this May of 2014, and we have a number of students who are on target to graduate with an Associate of Arts degree. How many is that, Dr. LeBlanc?
I think it's
10. 10 of those students will graduate with an Associate of Arts degree. And we're hoping, of course, that as they graduate, yes, that deserves a round of applause. We're hoping that as they graduate from TCC from their high schools in June, they will continue on at TCC. And I don't know how many hours a lot of them have, but I'm sure there are many more who are close to graduation. And that is a very good thing for us. This budget year, we're looking at establishing the budget to relocate to the Aviation Technology Building from the temporary buildings that house the early college high schools right now. Northeast Campus is well underway with its plans in a partnership with Grapevine Colleyville ISD. The site will be in the District Service Center building, so it means we didn't have to invest large sums of money there to get that ready. It will open in the fall, this coming fall, 2014. 125 students are expected. In the fall of 2015, we'll need additional space for the new class that will be joining us, and we'll need at that point to relocate some of the district personnel who are now housed in the District Service Center. Ms. Petty and her team are working on that. By fall of 2016, we'll need space to accommodate a full 400 plus students at that early college high school. Grapevine Colleyville is also extremely excited. Dr. Darledge took that one on like a bull taking on China cabinet and went after it and has so far done an outstanding job of getting it ready. Trinity River Campus, in partnership with the Fort Worth ISD and the UNT Health Science Center, has what is called the Texas Academy of Biomedical Sciences Early College High School. It's in its third year. The first 2 years, those students were housed completely in a Fort Worth ISD facility. Now the third year students are on our campus. Next year we'll have, of course, about 200 students on our campus. Dr. Fulkerson is currently in negotiations with the Fort Worth ISD to move the school to Trinity River Campus, the entire student body there, to accommodate 400 students, perhaps by the fall of 2015. We're working on that as we speak. And of course, you know that we've been working on a charter school for our South Campus. We've identified sites for possible location. We are currently awaiting the approval of the Texas Education Agency on the Management Services Agreement. We have done what we need to do for that. And now the charter school operator is working with the agency, Texas Education Agency, to make sure that they have done what the TEA feels they must do in order to satisfy their concerns. Their concerns primarily are they like the model, they like what they see at Tarrant County College. They want to make sure that National Heritage Academies is following the letter of the law as we set up the agreement on how we would work with them.
Have we seen that agreement or approved it, or I don't recall? Management Services Agreement, it's been negotiated and it's finalized and now before.
I will let Ms. Robinson answer that question for you because she's been working very closely with them on that Management Services Agreement.
The TEA has a particular form and a way they want the money to run, and we're trying to get their approval on our proposal before we get NHA to sign off on it.
The next slide comes to the Chevron, question?
Yeah, I just have a question on the early college high school. I assume that we'll be tracking them as a cohort, and to what extent, since we have a graduating class coming up, what extent will we be, tracking that cohort in terms of retention and four-year universities, two-year, and so forth?
Dr. LeBlanc, does your team have a plan for that? You want to come and answer that question, please?
Good evening. We are tracking those students, and we plan on tracking them on past graduation with an associate's degree. We will have approximately 40 students next year that will be juniors in high school that will have completed their associate's degree. So we're in the process of negotiating with universities to see if they will continue offering, I guess it would be junior level coursework while they're at Marine Creek Collegiate High School. It's a similar agreement to the one that Trinity River Campus has with Fort Worth ISD and University of North Texas. I hope that answers your question.
You may recall that we have really staffed our institutional research office to a point where we expect to be able to get anything for which we ask. And so far, Mr. Marshall has seen that we get it. So I'm sure that they're on that and they'll be able to give us data. And interestingly, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board has also asked that question. They are very, very interested in whether or not early college high school really makes that much difference. Those of us who have early college high schools know that it does make that much difference, but they want to see, of course, data, and we don't have any problem with that because we too like to see that data. But that's a very good question, Ms. Vandergrift. Thank you. You heard a couple of 4 weeks ago, I guess, about the proposal for Chevron Energy Solutions to come and do an assessment of where we are with all of our energy saving projects and to align our current work with the Texas A&M University project with that program by Chevron. Chevron didn't necessarily agree to do that on their own. Our people, of course, had worked with Texas A&M, and you have something in your budget action items tonight about that for your consideration. But if you approve that project, of course, it will be aligned with the current work that Texas A&M has done, which will give us a yardstick by which to measure what Chevron tells us. The planned projects will improve the learning environments. They will link with real-world projects to relevant student learning experiences. And a part of what Chevron proposes to do is to help our students learn about energy conservation, sustainability, green projects while they are working on Tarrant County College designs. The next step would be for us to complete the opportunity assessment, at least for Chevron to complete that, bring the recommendations to the board, and then you will decide if you want to use that assessment or not. It doesn't cost us anything at all to have them do the assessment. And if you decide not to use it, you still don't owe any money.
Chancellor, I'm interested, will you remind me how this project originated with the college? Did they just present something to us, or did we ask them to come in, or how did we originate this whole process to get this project started, the assessment?
The Chevron people have been courting us for about 3 years, I suppose, and they came to us, of course, first off. The Texas Association of Community Colleges has brought Chevron and other organizations to our summer conferences to have them present to community colleges to let us know what kind of savings are potentially available to community colleges. We've had several others to come to us and offer to do this, but we have not had any one of them to make a full proposal as Chevron did. So our staff looked at what they presented finally. Took them 3 years to agree to take a real strong look at it, but they did. And when they did, they decided that it would be worth having them do that. We selected Chevron from the state buy board, one of those state buy boards where they have been vetted through the state and are recommended to us. You know, we do several large projects every year. We buy electricity from one of the state buy boards and some of the other things, and that's how we came about selecting Chevron. Sticky spaces. You have allocated the money that is that accrues to us from the increase in student tuition rates to go for sticky spaces. And you'll recall that last fall you allocated, I think, $480,000 for us to use to employ additional academic advisors to help our students. And we ended up, I think, with 10 of them. Is that right, Dr. Gates-Black? I think we had 10 new employees that we hired to help our students. 14 14 success coaches that we hired. We named them something a little differently, and their jobs are a little bit more intrusive, I suppose is a good word, than a regular academic advisor's job is. Nevertheless, our work on sticky spaces is still going very strong. And you can see on the Northeast campus, we have new seating near the Zen Garden area. Sticky spaces are good indoors and they are good outdoors as well. And by the Science Building, we've created collaborative areas on the first and second floor of the atrium, at the atrium area. And in the Business and Social Services area, we've provided new seating in the corridors. On the South Campus, we're creating new outdoor seating areas, replacing existing seating corridors, and renovating the large atrium collaborative area in the nursing building. We haven't renamed that building yet, even though there's not a nurse down there anymore. We still call it the nursing building. We're getting around to renaming it. It's just taking a little while to. There's a good reason why it hasn't been renamed. I don't remember what it is, but they've told me there's a good reason. The Nursing and Health Services building, we're renovating the outdoor courtyard area and replacing the seating there. You know, that's a very lovely space around that building, that courtyard. And of course, in the Student Center, we're replacing seating in several areas. I do not know, and I didn't think to ask this question before I got up here tonight, whether or not in some of these spaces in the interior, if we're also providing electrical outlets, if they aren't there, I don't know. Wi-Fi is certainly available. Is that right, Mr. Marshall? Yes. It is available everywhere pretty much now, so that's very good. And of course, we've had to increase the bandwidth, is that a good word, for Wi-Fi, because so many people who come to the college now bring their smartphones, their, well, there's another word, what's the generic word for iPad? Their tablets, and their computers. Some people have 3 devices, and sometimes they have all 3 of them going at one time, so we've had to increase the bandwidth so that students do get served the way they'd like to be served. On our Northwest campus, in the Health and Physical Education building, we're going to create new outdoor seating there. We've already created outdoor seating, I don't see it up there, outside of the Michael Sines, not the Michael Sines, that's not the Michael Sines building. What's the name of the Conference Center building? I'll call it the Conference Center building. Yes, and that is also a very lovely space overlooking the lake. You know, who couldn't go there and be very inspired? In the theater, the library, and various offices, we're renovating existing study room areas to provide more collaborative space for our students. In the Student Center, we've repaired upholstery on existing seating. In counseling, testing, and the sciences, we've replaced the corridor seating in multiple areas. So we're moving right along on Northwest. On Southeast, we've created outdoor covered seating area near the lake. You know, Southeast suffers. Dr. Coppola couldn't be here tonight because he's on another assignment for the college. But he would be very pleased to hear me say that the Southeast campus, of course, is crowded. Everybody knows that he likes me to say it all the time. That is crowded, and anytime you can get students in the outdoor areas to work and collaborate, that eases the crowdedness inside the interior parts of the building. In the C wing and the D wing, we're replacing existing seating in the corridors and creating new seating areas as well. The Southeast campus is fortunate to have very nice wide corridors up and down those areas in the building, and so we have quite a bit of space that we can use there for sticky spaces. In the D wing, we're creating reading areas in the library. Trinity River campus, we're exploring additional opportunities for sticky spaces. They already have significant spaces at Trinity River. I'm not sure if we add more, they wouldn't all stick together, but anyway, the Trinity River campus is not being left out. We're looking at that. And now for the innovation forums, we're very, very pleased to say that Margaret where's Margaret? She's here. She just stepped out. See, I called her name and she's not here to hear me. She's done an absolutely outstanding job of getting all of our innovation forums up and running. We have 5 people now one for each of our campuses, and they are very, very excited. You're looking at a picture of the Innovation Forum on the Northwest campus. Each of our campuses has a very lovely space. Dr. Jordan was very fortunate to have a special space that he's using, one that was created for the bookstore, a little cafe. They decided it wasn't as profitable as they needed it to be, so they gave the space up, and Dr. Jordan has that now for his Innovation Forum. So he has the ability to have nice coffee and all those other kinds of things in the Innovation Forum. But that's a beautiful space there. All of them are very nice. The Northeast space is very special, too. It's in the library on the campus, a very frequently used space. I remember where Southeast is, but I can't remember what to tell you about it. Is it completed?
Yes, it's right in the lobby area behind the class.
Oh, I keep forgetting this. Beautiful. Margaret, I gave you credit for having gotten all this work done, so you may want to stand by so you can help me with something. Southeast, is Southeast complete now?
Yes.
It is completed. It's right behind the library. And I think they're considering opening up that glass wall and allow entrance from the corridor as well as from the library. So, and they also have a nice little kitchen area close by. Yeah, break room. So that'll be very nice. So which campus have I missed? Trinity. Right on Main Street. Yes, I haven't seen that space yet. I don't think. That's why I haven't seen it under construction. But anyway, you'll be pleased to know that they're all up and running. They're training now for the non-biased committee members and departmental owners. The training is in design. We're creating online environment through IT for a May implementation. You'll recall that employees, students, faculty, everybody may access the Innovation Forum either by going there in person or by beginning their work online. And having the online ability to do that is going to really streamline the process, and it's also going to make for very easy record keeping for everything that's done. The whole idea is to share whatever ideas we have for the Innovation Forum with all of us. And there is going to be a website where people can go and look to see what somebody else has proposed, how it's fared, what state of progress they're making, and those kinds of things.
Madam Chancellor, I think that we should give Margaret and her team and the committee as well special accolades for this. This is an incredibly innovative process, very complicated. Y'all have done a marvelous, marvelous job. The whole team. I'm talking about the implementation committee too. Y'all have really worked this thing out. It's a dream, and it's still a work in progress. But thank you.
Thank you. It's very cutting edge. As we go around the country and we talk about, first of all, the cutting edge starts with the combined academic and facilities master plan. That's where it starts. And then when you look at the things that have come from it, and I know when we started talking about this 2 years ago, it sounded really off the wall to a lot of people. And some people thought we would never get to where we are today. But if you look up there, look at that picture, and you look at diversity and relevance, engagement, access, and metrics that form our dream score, I think it's working extremely well, and we're very, very proud of it.
Open houses on the first week of March, and there was an all-outlook telling everybody about it today.
Open house on every campus, and the TCC Opportunity Center this year. Dr. Morrison's always on me about using that center more, and she's exactly right, because a lot of people do not know anything about it. So you'll be pleased to know that the Tarrant County College Foundation Board of Directors met at the Opportunity Center last Saturday, and they were very, very impressed. So we hope all of you will be able to make at least a stop on one campus to see what's happening in the open houses. So thank you, Nina, for that.
Suzanne's getting the word out.
Okay, very good. On the intranet, and it'll go out to everybody. Now, for the financial outlook, fortunately, we don't have many guesses to make this year. As you know, last year when we got our appropriation, it was for 13-14 and 14-15. So we know what it's going to be. It's going to remain the same as it was last year. We know that our tuition is going to be pretty much the same because there is no increase. You voted 3 years ago for a tuition increase that would last for 3 years before you would consider it again. So 14-15 will be the third year of that tuition increase. Tuition is now set at $55 per semester hour. Is that right? 55? $55 per semester hour. That bottom left box there that says for each 1% increase in enrollment, that's approximately $500,000. This year, I don't know what the number is today, but at the end of regular registration, we were up, that's not right, on the 12th class day, because we count students until the 12th class day. We don't count new students, really, because we stop registration a week before the beginning of classes. But a few students drop out. You know, I keep holding my breath when I see that number on the last day and say, please stay, please stay, please stay. And we're working on ways to help our students connect with us and really stay. But at the end of the regular period, we were up about 0.5% is where we were. Now, we have gained more students since that time, even though some did drop out. Students continue to register for second 8-week courses, and we're up about 800 students since the end of the regular registration period. Classes are scheduled to start March, the middle of March, for after spring break. Classes start for the second 8 weeks. So that means that we are not going to probably get very much new money in the way of tuition. Enrollments around the country are pretty stagnant. In Texas, the majority of the community colleges went down in enrollment. Just a few of us grew a little bit. There are 1 or 2 colleges that grew maybe 1.5%, and maybe there's one that even had a 2% increase, but that was rare. Most of them are down. There are several reasons why the enrollment is going down. Enrollment at community colleges has normally been very closely aligned with the economy. When the economy is at its worst, enrollments go up. And you know why they do. People are coming back for training, desperately looking for a job. When the economy begins to do better, enrollments tend to go down. When the hiring picks up, college enrollments go down. So we are in that cycle. The other thing that's happening too around the state and in many ways around the nation, and that is the number of 18-year-olds who are graduating from high school is not growing today the way it was 5 or 10 years ago. So that also has something to do with the number of students who are eligible to come to college. Another reason for us to work very closely with all of our ISDs, but you've heard me say that one of my goals is to increase dual credit courses, to double the number of students we serve in dual credit courses. And of course, that will certainly help our enrollment. Not only does it help it in real time, it also helps it in future time, because as those students enroll in dual credit, they're more likely to enroll after they graduate from high school. Another way we are hoping to increase our enrollment is through TCC Connect. As we connect with more students in more places, we're expecting that those numbers will indeed increase. On the tax revenue side, we don't know what the valuation is going to be. We will not know. That's the only question mark up there, really, basically, and that is what the valuation will be. It's not likely to go down. It is more likely to go up slightly, but I can't get Mark and Nancy to give me any kind of guess this early in the game, so we don't know what that's going to be. We do have at the bottom of that chart possible additional revenue sources. Again, I'm not ready to predict what kind of money we're going to get from those, but you'll recall that one of my goals that you gave me has been to increase revenue streams from other sources. Mark McClendon talked about the 3P, and we're also working on some other things. Mark has a couple of projects that he's working on. one that you'll hear about very soon as we finish all of our negotiations with the company that we're hiring to work with us. Tim Marshall has a project that he's working on. Won't necessarily bring any money on the front side immediately, but certainly has great potential for the college revenue as we move forward. And Carlos Morales has some other things in mind that he can do to help us with additional revenue sources. So we don't expect a lot of new money for 14-15, and of course our budgeting will go accordingly and as we move ahead. The main reason I want to talk about these things tonight with you, and it's almost 6 o'clock, even though we got a little late start, I'm going to cut it off here after I say this. I wanted to know from you, the things that we talked about, that I presented to you, are there other things that are really pressing on your minds that you think we should consider as we start to work on our 2014-15 budget?
I really have some questions that might lead into some of that. The first question really is your last comment about TCC Connect. To take an e-learning course, does the cost vary between an in-state student versus an out-of-state student?
It does for any course, yes, it does. So
Okay,
if you're
so
out of
we move
state
on.
and you sign up for the e-learning course, you pay out-of-state tuition.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then I had two other questions. I should have done it when Mark was up and Nina. But regarding the holdings report that's coming out, will that have a portion of, will it identify any environmental issues or potential on that? Okay. And then the other one was having to do with P3s. I'm familiar with TIFs, and I don't think the North Richland Hill is an example, but I speculate that we might be in the downtown Fort Worth TIF here. So are we eligible to be incentivized with TIF money?
If we are doing something, the answer is yes.
Okay.
If we are doing something that is within the guidelines of the TIF.
Okay.
You know, I don't know about this building. Are we in a TIF in this building? I know we are with Trinity River and Trinity River East.
Right.
But I'm not sure about this building.
Okay.
We'll check into it. But the TIF, of course, as you know, will have various goals
Right.
that
right.
it intends to reach. So the answer is possibly yes.
Okay. Well, and this is just, so this is just my question. It has nothing to do with any board conversation. And just a hypothetical, if Fort Worth, the city of Fort Worth felt that they needed more parking, and we had a piece of land that we could build a parking structure with shared investment, then we could offer the free public parking at night like they do, and then certainly we would have that revenue stream going forward during the daytime.
Yes.
So that would be something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not that model or that concept, but something like that.
Yes, and Mark has been talking with me about similar kinds of things because he serves on all of our TIFs. And is there anything you need to add on that, Mark, at this point? Or?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to address the TIF. The TIF, very briefly, the TIF has a geographic boundary, ma'am.
Right.
And if you're within that boundary, then the TIF will, and if you are infrastructures that is helping the area, it will help you. If you're looking something outside of the TIF, it will not happen, madam.
Right.
Okay,
I
but
understand
but that's
that.
what I'm
why
saying.
I speculated
But
that maybe
we have
property.
there's 11 TIFs downtown, so it will depend on what
Right.
geographic you are. And in one of them, they are actually helping us. They're helping us with signage. They are. So
Okay.
the TIF is paying. We give the money, but on the signage for the downtown TIF, they're actually doing. They will put signage for us.
Okay. Thank you.
Board members, any guidance for me?
I'm sorry.
Just one observation. We talked about the Northeast campus, Early College High School, and I spoke to the superintendent of Grapevine Colleyville yesterday, and he's, as you said, they're very excited about this. They now have their goal is 150 students in the first year, and they have over 50 already, and they just announced it, which is I think excellent. So they're excited about that. Regarding the additional revenue stream, sources of revenue, have we or can we predict and project what those, in other words, establish a goal for a certain amount of funds to be derived from that?
We have already established goals. I'm not ready to tell you yet what they are and how it's going to work because we're still working out the details.
Mhm.
But we've established short-term goals and long-term goals. Yes, we are.
Chancellor, what I think is important is for us to maintain the exciting momentum that we have going for us now and maintaining that momentum with what money that we have. I know it's going to be tough, but you have a lot, achieving the dream, all the projects you've been talking about. My advice, what my view is that we keep that momentum going, especially the Innovation Forum. I think that's the future for us. Maintaining the momentum and the excitement that we have going on and going forward. I know that's very general, but I like what we're doing now, and it doesn't look like we're going to be doing a lot of new things in the future, in the near term. But we've got a lot of good stuff going on now, and keep it going.
Thank you. We certainly appreciate that vote of confidence in what we're doing, and our goal is to keep moving. It doesn't take money to do everything, so don't think we're stopping. I mean, just because, we're being very conservative here doesn't mean that we're going to stop moving forward on some other things that don't take a lot of money.
Madam Chancellor,
Yes, sir.
I appreciate I really appreciate the diligence that we're paying, the time that we're spending on our budget here. I find myself in somewhat of a disagreement with my esteemed colleague, which is I think that we probably do have some potentially expensive projects coming up. The Fine Arts Facility, early high school campuses. We need to expand the Southeast campus. We have other amenities that need. I think that it's been pretty close to 20 years since GCC has had a bond project.
Yes, sir.
We have excellent credit. We have very low interest rates. If we're looking at projects that are going to have lifetimes of 20 years or more, as opposed to short-time things, I don't see why we can't at least examine the idea of a voter-approved bond package where we can stretch the debt for this out over a couple of decades or longer. Also, the advantage of that is, one, is you have taxpayer input, and if they approve it, it's also permission to tax. I think we're getting very close to the end of being able to continue with pay-as-you-go. And really, Mr. Lace has been, since the mid-'90s at 98, so very close to it. By the time we had the election, it'd be close to 17, 18 years. I don't think you can find many public taxing entities that can say that they have not gone to the voters in almost 20 years for additional resources. So if we're going to look at these things, and by the way, I don't think without this, I don't think we can do the Fine Arts Center without some exceptional source of revenue. I don't think we can really logically examine the idea of a potential Southwest TARRANT campus without looking at some fairly substantial source of revenue. I could be wrong now. I guess we could do it with substantial tax increases, but then we're back to the same point where we're actually doing things without getting voter endorsement. So I would like, as we look at this, to at least look at the idea of having a future bond election for these major projects.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. I will tell you that it probably is possible for you to do the Performing Arts Center, if you choose to, without a bond election. It would be very, very tight, but we could probably do it, and we'll talk more about how that could be done. But you're absolutely right. If the board decides it wants to build a new campus, you really will have to do something different from what we're doing today.
Madam Chancellor, thank you for the effort that you've put forth in bringing this to us so very early so that we can all collectively begin to think along the same path. And in that same vein, I would ask that you add to the list, I know you have a list that you probably didn't present to us, but just so it's not left out, I think we really need to do a reassessment of our nutrition options on our campuses so that we have extended hours and opportunities for our students and faculty and staff. And I know that perhaps is would involve major costs, but I think that is something that we really need to consider. The solution that we have right now is not ideal, and so I'd like to ask that that be added to the list, and also that we consider transportation partnerships with other entities across the county. As you're aware, the city has appointed a transportation czar, and we want to be on his radar screen and him to be on ours, and just add that to the list. Thank you. And I was about to mention the electrical outlets for the sticky spaces, because I can guarantee you that if you don't have that, the students won't stick for very long. Thank you.
Well, I certainly understand that, and while we know that it may not be feasible for us to do them throughout, we can always have charging stations that are spaced appropriately as we go. I will tell you that Mr. McClendon and his staff have not stopped looking at food options from the time we contracted with Subway. We will continue to look at those, but I will also tell you that it's extremely difficult for us to get certain kinds of food options with the habits of our students. And, that's the major thing for us. We changed to Subway because it was costing us so much money to try to keep those kitchens going, and the students weren't satisfied with that option either. It's difficult. Food service on a non-residential campus is extremely difficult. We will continue to try really hard. We probably won't get to where you want us to go, though. And I know when you're all out on the campuses and you hear the complaints, I get that. We worry about those complaints too, but solving them is a very difficult issue, probably more difficult than the transportation issue. And we all know how difficult transportation is. But to find somebody who is willing to come to our campus with the kind of traffic that we have and offer certain kinds of food is extremely difficult, very, very challenging. But Reginald was writing. He's put both of those things on the list. He's put Mr. Carter's concern on the list. Are there others?
If not, to adjourn this portion, and shall we take a break or move right into the board meeting? What is your pleasure?
It is the pleasure of the board.
Go? All right. Thank you so much, and to all of you who participated in the presentations. Alex, I need to ask you to do me a favor. I will call the regular board meeting to order at this point. Excuse me, and ask if there are any public comments. No one has signed up for, okay. Then we'll move on to presentation on student access and success and administrative programs and projects, starting with Northwest Campus. Mrs. Hadley.
Thank you, Madam President. We're very pleased to bring to you tonight the Northwest Campus's Credit for Heroes program. Dr. Eva LeBlanc is going to lead that off with Dr. Eric Jackson. Dr. LeBlanc.
Good evening, Mrs. Hadley, Mrs. Appleman, and board members. It's a privilege to be here this evening. First, the Northwest Campus wants to officially thank Mrs. Hadley for her support of Marine Creek Collegiate High School. And in the earlier presentation, I hope you noted a lovely photo of Mrs. Hadley with the Marine Creek High School students. That was the very first group. And if you go to the high school, you'll note a giant photo about the size of that screen of Mrs. Hadley with the students. And so we wanted to give you your official one. It's a great photo, and
Thank you.
And
Yes,
it's
very
truly
much.
special because those are the first children that will be graduating, and they'll be grown up at that
Yes,
point.
that's
So it's
right.
very exciting. It's also very exciting to introduce Dr. Eric Jackson, who will be talking about a very special program. Dr. Jackson was in the military, and his son is in the Air Force. And we have several faculty and staff that are veterans. And of course, we have many, many students that are veterans on the Northwest Campus. And Dr. Jackson has a can-do attitude. Whenever we come up with an idea or a grant possibility, he's there, he applies for it, and he gets it. So please help me welcome Dr. Eric Jackson, who will be talking about the HEROES program. Real quickly, I also want to mention that half of the Northwest Campus is here for support.
Good evening, Chancellor. Good evening, Board. Glad to be here again and talk about programs here at the Northwest Campus. But before I begin, I'd like to recognize the support we have here from the Northwest Campus. As you can see, these are the students who are appropriately dressed in their college credit.
Come
on in.
closer so the board can see all of you. Some of you can stand right over there, just right over there, where the board members can see you.
See all of
And and then some of you can stop right where you are. Come on.
face the audience, too.
I'd like to mention that when we say College Credit for Heroes, all these young men, and we have a few young ladies in our program as well, they're all veterans in various branches throughout And as Dr. LeBlanc has pointed out, the rest of our administrative staff, Ms. Gail Washington is here. Could you please stand? Ms. Nicole Graves is here as well. And Mr. Ryan Kelly, he is our program coordinator for this effort. And all three of them also are veterans of the military services.
Wow.
Yeah, so, all right, so our College Credit for Heroes program, we believe is an excellent program. And as we move through this PowerPoint, and you'll have an opportunity to see a video of what this program is all about as well. So in the interest of time, I'll just move forward through it. College Credit for Heroes, it is a workforce program with the Texas Workforce Commission, and there are 7 community colleges were selected in 2011. It was primarily for nursing programs and various other technical programs. But as they moved into phase 2, they wanted to look into other technical fields as far as accelerating the degree programs for veterans. And we visited with the Office of Grant Development. We visited with Vice Chancellor Troy Vaughn's office, and we came together and thought that the fire program would be an excellent program to expand this off, and TCC would be a great partner with the Texas Workforce Commission. There's a quote there: purpose of education for veterans, military, leadership, and other skills, plus the education equals successful and sustainable careers. And all these young men and ladies, at some point in time, while engaged in the military service, they've learned all the necessary leadership skills and a variety of other skills as well. Our job as TCC, we provide the education, and we help them transfer their military training into college credits, and then we provide the educational programs that we have that can lead to a successful and sustainable career for both these young gentlemen and young ladies. The military, over the next couple of years, plans to draw down. Basically, we're going to cut the military forces starting in 2013, 200,000 to 300,000 soldiers over the next 2-3 years, and at least 1 million over the next 5 to 7. So many of these soldiers that are currently serving will probably be asked or thanked for their service and asked to depart from the military based on the drawdown. With that in mind, many of them also are going to need to come over into civilian world, transition from the military into the civilian world, and find a career. And this is where TCC and other community colleges are in a position to help with that process. So the veteran population will increase to 58,000 since 2010, and that's an average of 19,000 veterans per year will increase to 35,000 veterans per year in 2014. Half of these veterans are under the age of 24. And unemployment rate for this new generation of Texan veterans, those who served after 9/11, is 13.5%. And we stand ready to help them find employment or gainful employment after that process. Tarrant County military veterans population, we're 123,517, as seen in the map, one of the highest concentrations in the state. USAA continually ranks this region in the top 3 of the country for military veterans to transition with the number of employers and educational institutions. So in essence, we have a lot of military veterans here in the region due to the military bases, and this is a major retirement place for veterans as well. Community demand, and this is why we focused on firefighting. As by 2018, the Texas Workforce Commission projects a growth of 13,660 new jobs in firefighting across the state. In Tarrant County, the growth will be approximately 1,090 new jobs in firefighting, and the greater expectation of educated firefighters is in demand. In order to advance in a career in firefighting, they're demanding that you not only have a high school diploma, but a associate's degree, and in some expertise, a master's degree. And we've done a great deal with working with our high school students, as you know, with our high school fire academy. We've done a great deal of working with the individuals that come to our program. As you know, we have a 100% retention rate and a 100% state exam pass rate. So we have a very excellent program. So what we decided to do is to offer this with the Workforce Commission and with the College Credit for Heroes grant, is to streamline this degree. So the program itself is 60 hours, the associate's degree, and the Fire Academy is approximately 460 hours of required training and up to 18 hours in academic credit. Once you complete that, we'll accept that credit by experience. EMT is 6 hours. The 60-hour program, the way it's built in the catalog, is based on a 2-year model. The Fire Academy is 16 weeks, and then EMT, if it was to follow a normal semester, it would also run about 16 weeks as well. We condensed this and created a first and second 8-week model, combining summer school and using distance learning as well. So we took a 3-year process and brought it down to 1 year.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is Dr. Morales? Oh, did you hear that?
Are you paying attention?
I just want to make sure you heard that. Because Dr. Jackson, when I challenged TCC Connect for our weekend program, they've got this wonderful schedule so their students can graduate in a year and a half. I said, what about 1 year? Right. See, they've done 3 into 1. So no pressure. No pressure. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Our course enrollment, as you can see, the gentlemen, and I don't know if we have our female members here today, but there are 23 student veterans enrolled in this program. Ryan Kelly was he was a hard charger in this, and so a lot of this goes to him. He went out and visited all the veteran groups. He went out across the state of Texas, Fort Hood, and a few other military bases, and he found us, even I think some from California and other places. He found us 23 veterans that would be interested in firefighting here at Tarrant County College. Our average age is 26. Average years of service of 5 years. As you can see, we're predominantly males within this class, 91%, but we do have 2 female student veterans. We do have 1 veteran here in our group. He is technically blind, but he spent 33 years in the fire service. He also spent time in the retired military veteran as well. But he wanted to put the final cap on his educational and experience career-wise by adding on an associate's degree, and he is doing outstanding in this program. The branches of service that are represented here, 13 are Army, 5 are Marines, 4 Navy, and 1 Air Force. So we're across the gamut of military branches. Number of deployments, 36 overseas missions. 8 of our students with multiple deployments, 15 served in Iraq, Iraqi freedom, and then others served in enduring freedom in Afghanistan, and then other locations, Korea, Haiti, Philippines, Japan, and Libya. So they bring to the classroom a wide array of experiences and a wide array of training and just excellent discipline. And this is why we believe this is going to be a very successful program. All right. Our veteran learning community, and this is basically what it is. It is a cohort of 23 veterans. We have an 8-week model, and it's a combination of face-to-face and distance learning. We have a very comprehensive or wraparound services. So we have a veteran coordinator, and that's Ryan Kelly. We have our CT advisor, that's Ms. Nicole Graves, our program specialist, Ms. Gail Washington, and we have a very veteran-centric approach. And the idea is to ensure that they move through this program and as a cohort, and they have all the services available that's going to help them be successful in this program. For example, we know that chemistry is coming up, and we met with Dr. Janet Smith, and we built a team of chemistry professors to work with these veterans, either split them out into smaller groups, coordinate lab arrangements and training for them to ensure that they have student support services as well as tutoring if needed. But they have all will go through our fire chemistry course, and by doing so, they'll be even better prepared to enter our traditional chemistry course. So again, we have a great deal of mentoring, student services, non-course based options. Ryan is there every morning at, I think he gets here at 6 in the morning, but he's there every morning to meet the veterans at the classroom. He's there to respond to any concerns they may have. We also have what I call Breakfast with the Dean coming up next week, so we'll sit down as a group again and go over their experiences so far. All of them are doing excellent. From what I hear, all the scores are well above 80 and into the 90s, and many are in 100s when it comes to the academic testing, the classroom success. So it is something that we're very proud of. So when I say veteran-centric college, this is the reasons for our approach. Military and civilian cultures are very different. We know that the military environment is, the language is different, the acronyms are different, the training is different, the demand is different, and so it's very important that when we develop these types of programs that we build them around what veterans already know. And this is why this cohort is very important. This is why we chose this model. When you are in the service and you go off to training, you go off for 6 weeks, you come back, you're certified in whatever it is you went off to training for, and you're ready to go to work. So taking that same philosophy and bringing it here, we decided to build this 8-week, first week, second 8-week model. Veterans and returning service members face unique challenges. Many of them were placed in different theaters, exposed to various, in this time, exposed to various different war environments, and so they bring with them different challenges. They didn't necessarily, not a lot of them spent time in college before joining the military. Many of them went straight from high school to the military, so that a culture of college that we get with our dual credit environment, things of that nature, that may not have been transferred to them. Many of them do come from families that have college background, and they choose the service as a choice, and that's fine, and those students are just as successful as well. Many veterans leave their first civilian job within 3 years. A lot of that has to do with a great deal of the culture, a great deal of adjusting from transitioning from the military back into the service, transitioning from service back into the civilian world. Having done that myself, I bounced around after I got out, bounced around from security job to Air Force, airport security to college, and worked my way through. So I do understand how that works. Many veterans have difficulty reaching out for assistance. In the military, you have a culture that really supports everything you do. You need something, someone's there to help you. Your platoon sergeant, your captain, your first sergeant, someone's always there. Transitioning to the civilian world, you lose that support system, and then you have to try to find and create a new support system. And then, of course, recruitment and retention. Getting them here, reaching out to them, visiting the veteran organizations, letting them know that programs like this exist, and letting them know that they too can be successful in college, and we have a support service very similar to the one they experienced while they were in the service. This brings us to our video, and I'll turn it over to you. And this sort of our marketing tool as well. So we'll take a few minutes and watch this, and then we'll move forward and take any questions you may have.
As a military veteran myself, I received a great deal of training specifically in firefighting that I know could be awarded college credit. The College Credit for Heroes program seeks to maximize the amount of college credits awarded to the veteran, and this helps to expedite the transition into the workforce. They do that by streamlining degree paths and workforce certificate program.
In July 2011, Governor Rick Perry officially launched the College Credit for Heroes program. This program seeks to maximize college credits awarded to active military members and veterans for their military experience. Tarrant County College was awarded the College Credit for Heroes grant in May of 2013. At this time, it is the only program of its kind for veterans in North Texas.
I joined the Navy pretty late. I was 24, and I went through their fire academy there. It's called Damage Control, and they put me through a fire training class in Great Lakes, Illinois, and that's where I was first exposed to SCBA's, bunker gear, and elements of heat besides just being from Texas.
The Fire Services Training Center on Tarrant County College's Northwest Campus is a comprehensive fire training facility that offers basic fire academy, advanced fire courses, as well as an associate's degree program in fire technology. The Fire Academy is a rigorous 16-week program that includes both academic and practical training focused on becoming a certified firefighter as recognized by the Texas Commission on Fire Protection. The degree program will be accelerated and is designed to assist transitioning service members with obtaining their degree by creating an environment and program that takes into consideration work and life issues. Having a cohesive team of veterans working together toward a common goal will provide a foundation for you to successfully complete the program.
I'm a National Guard soldier down in Waco. I work with HHT 1124. When I graduated high school, I came up here and applied for a school to be a firefighter. But then Uncle Sam roped me in, and now that I'm finished, I came back here to kind of pick up where I left off. With the College Credit for Heroes, it compresses the time span but gets you the same certifications, and I think it could really help people out that are trying to get their life going after they get out of the military.
I really enjoyed it, and I was like, this is something I want to do. And when I get out, there's potential for me to still get a good job, and postman, policeman, fireman, to stay in public service and stuff like that.
Regardless of military experience, College Credit for Heroes will help you obtain your fire science degree.
Yes, the veterans get credit for their service in the military to apply to this. Are they all firefighters, or are there other?
They're all wanting to be firefighters. Some of them, I believe two, had a background in firefighting in the military, and then those individuals will then pay a $35 fee to the state of commission, the fire commission, and then their background will be assessed and their records will be assessed, and generally that is transferred over into a certified firefighter here in the state of Texas. The others are a variety of backgrounds, infantry, artillery, and so they're just interested in a career in firefighting. So now they're here, and they will make it through the fire academy after they work through their associate's degree.
Okay, so they don't have to have a background in firefighting in the military?
No, sir.
To get the credit? Okay. And couldn't this also apply to police academy?
Yes, one of our slides will have to talk about the future of this program, and the criminal justice program as well as the police academy will fit in the same type of model. And we'll go to the next slide here. And we've talked about accreditation. You're all very well, SACS just left us, so we're very familiar with the SACS. And then the Service Member Opportunities College. As part of the grant, we had to become a member of that. And so today we are a member of the Service Members Opportunity College. And basically, we attract veterans. When they see that, we're one of the 160 plus colleges and universities that work very hard to ensure that veterans are integrated into the student body and are successfully matriculating through the programs offered at those colleges and universities. Here's where we are on the grant. We've hired a program coordinator who you met. We've joined Service Members Opportunity College. We've developed a website presence, which you saw the video on. And so we have ordered kiosks to be strategically placed on the campus for veterans, and it'll basically have the College Credit for Heroes emblem on it, and veterans can access on web-based veteran services, what veteran programs, things of this nature, advertising, things of that nature, that really focus on veterans support services here at Tarrant County College. We've already conducted the orientation, and this is why we have the 23. We created the course schedule. We've enrolled the 23 veterans. Classes begin in January, and we do expect them to graduate in December. So, 1 year.
Wow.
Where are we going? As Mr. Heed has talked about in his earlier question, occupational safety, we have an associate's degree in that, and so we plan to target that degree program as well. Criminal justice and the basic police academy, and we have talked with Jeff McDonald and Vice President of Continuing Education, Washington, on the Northeast campus, and he has delivered an 8-month paramedic program, and we plan to utilize that paramedic program as well for those that are interested. And so our goal is really to keep this momentum going. Eventually the grant will run out, and so as we've talked about budget and things earlier, we will be making a case for Ryan to stay on board with us as a full-time coordinator to ensure that we're able to continue to deliver this great program to veterans here in the state of Texas and here at Tarrant County College. And there's Ryan's contact information if you want to speak with him individually, but he's here as well, and he can answer any questions that you may have. And at this point, we'll take any questions you may have.
Ms. Vandergriff?
I was just wondering, what's the maximum enrollment, and then will you start another cohort this summer or a different time?
We would like, the grant required us to have 20 in our cohort, and so we have 23. We sort of hedged our bets on attrition, but so far we haven't had any. We will take a cohort of 25. The academy, the fire academy really runs on a cohort, a class of 25, no larger than that. And so that's the most efficient and successful class size that we like to see. And we would like to continue it forward with other programs. So we do see this as a continuing project. The cohorts, again, will always be around 25, no larger than 30, just depending on which program we're operating within.
So can we come to their graduation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions?
A long time ago, I went to firefighter school myself. They don't know this, but at any rate, I love the safety equipment you have, because I distinctly recollect not having eyebrows in the front of my hair for about 2 months. But I appreciate no matter how much safety equipment you have, you put yourself in harm's way, and I know how very dangerous it can be. So I thank you for this.
Thank you.
Dr. Morrison?
Yes, well, first let me say that I apologize for having to step out, but all is well. And I'm so excited about this group being here, and I'm excited that you all came tonight. And I have a great idea. You were talking about raising funds. We could have a college for a calendar with the
to your room.
You got to take her over there.
And I'm serious, that'll raise money. And you said you have a kiosk on Northwest Campus?
We will have two. We are working to have them designed because we need them to lift up for veterans that may be in a wheelchair.
Okay, so when you're designing, let's ask the Chancellor to find some money so you can have one on the other campuses as well.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
I know she can do that. She works magic. Also, I'm really excited about starting another cohort. I think that is a wonderful way for us to increase our enrollment. When the Chancellor talked about students starting that second 8 weeks of school, so that would be something that you could look forward and work. I mean, you're already an overachiever, so you may as well just do it over the top. But thank you all for coming to let us see, because the board, we get all the facts and figures all the time, but you coming tonight, just really brings it to life. This is about the most exciting board meeting we've had in a while, right?
Well, I want to thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Dr. Jackson and students. We really appreciate you. And before you leave, students, this may be for the calendar, it may not be, but I want all of you to come around here, not quite this moment, but come around and stand right in front of the board. We're going to get this great picture, Tim, where you can go back out there. But I want to say, and I'm very serious about this, I am so pleased and impressed with what you've done with this program for our veterans. I signed a letter a few months ago that was sent to me by Secretary, who sent me the letter, Joy, asking me to sign, not Duncan, it was to be a veteran-friendly campus. Which secretary would that have been? One of the secretaries, it wasn't Secretary of the Army, but anyway, in her letter she said, Undersecretary Martha Cantor, that's who it was. And she said that she was asking college presidents and chancellors all over the country to sign a pledge to be veteran-friendly and veteran-supportive. And we did that. Of course, that was after you had, and I told her that we had this grant that we were working on. But it is so inspiring to see the results of your work here with these students. But the other thing that I really wanted to say was to all the rest of us in the room, because I'm pushing really, really hard for us to do the exact thing that you're doing all over this district. There are significant numbers of students who are capable of completing a degree in 1 year.
Yes.
Absolutely, there are a lot of them. And so I hope that as you branch out with this program, you will challenge us throughout the district, all of these programs, whether it's culinary arts, whether it's getting an associate degree to study medicine, they want to get it in science, whatever it is, there are ways to help our students to success in short periods of time. You're proving that. And of course, one of the main things that you're doing as well is recognizing what they already know. And we are going to do more and more and more of that at Tarrant County College. And I don't want any of us to be threatened by doing things like that for our students. There is no reason for us to have students sit in a classroom while we tell them things they already know. We should appreciate what they bring to us, what they know, give them credit for that, and let them move forward. So without knowing it perhaps, you have created an absolutely great model for us. And I know Carlos Morales is not going to be happy until he gets his weekend college students out in 1 year. I know he's not going to be. So I tried to get them to start out with 1 year. They said, oh, that's a little bit too ambitious. Let's do a year and a half at first. I said, okay, we'll do a year and a half first time out, then we'll look at a year. I'm not sure if we're going to agree to do a year and a half. I mean, we could put them on a 1 year track. We have all these wonderful students here to prove. And there are many veteran students I know who would also like to sign up for weekend college. I'm sure there are. And perhaps we can work together and tie those two programs together and get things going. So you've been a wonderful source of inspiration for all of us. But the biggest inspiration comes from all of our veteran students who have served us so well in their particular pursuits in the armed services, and now they're here to learn other skills or to add to their skills they already have and continue to serve us. So thank you. And now's the time to come up and get a picture with the board members so that we'll.
I'd like to ask
our
another
archive.
question. Specifically, what was a grant? Where did the grant come from, and is there a possibility of further grants? Is it a state grant, federal grant?
It was a Texas Workforce Commission grant,
Okay.
and at this point, we have not had another opportunity come open. And so basically, they've turned it over to the college to continue sustaining this program.
So many of the grants we get, many of them that we get call for at least in-kind contribution, Mr. Heath, which means that if you get $150,000 on a grant, the college may be expected to put in at least $25,000 or $30,000 to take it to the next level. Some of the grants we get will expect us to, at the end of the grant, to take it over and keep it going. And so as we take things on and we learn from the experiences that we get from them, the college is expected, if it's a good thing, to keep it moving. So,
And this particular grant was 50-50. The college, the grant was for 54, and the college put up the other 54.
good
And
partnership.
as they move up to the front, I'd like to take this opportunity, of course, to thank Dr. Wells for his support and Troy Vaughn for their support, his office support as well. And then, of course, thank our esteemed president, Dr. LeBlanc, and our administrative vice president, Dr. Ellis, Dr. Rhodey, and of course, Dr. Goodwin. Without them, this would not be possible at all. So thank you all.
Okay, picture time.
Picture time. While they're coming up, by the way, Chancellor, I really do think, I agree with Dr. Morrison, that cohorts really do lend themselves to a very accelerated completion
Yes,
like this.
Board members, if you would stand up so we can kind of see you behind the students. Find your view spot. We can go in the front. Okay, hurry up, make a decision. Where they gonna be?
Just do.
Okay.
And you,
We ruined
I'll
the
put you in the
calendar.
center, that's part of the calendar.
She's got good legs. You know,
You too. Everybody look at Tim over here.
okay, wait.
I can see everybody. Everybody needs to see me, though. One more. And we're done.
Okay, now just the guys.
Just wonder if that's something that the legislative committee could be working on.
That's the kind of program that gets your juices flowing.
Grin on her face.
All right, now, we have another presentation.
And now we have another presentation. We have one more presentation for the board, and that is going to be led by Keith Potter, Ebony Alexander, and Jorge Serralta. Is Jorge here tonight?
Yes, he is.
Okay, they're all three here. And they're going to tell you about some of the work that they've been doing in the process improvement area.
Yes.
You hear me talk a lot about all these various things that we're doing, and I know sometimes you wonder, and what happened? And what happened? And what happened? So they're going to give you just a brief outline of what they do, and I think maybe one or two projects?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
and we'll be very brief.
Thank you,
Okay.
Keith.
Good evening, Board, Chancellor, the Celt, and the remaining audience. My name is Keith Potter. I'm a Six Sigma Master Black Belt with the Process Improvement Team And what I'd like to talk to you about is our building designation process that we put together. We put the building designation process together to do one main thing, which is create and standardize a process that will allow us throughout the district to go through to name a building and to identify a 4-letter code for a building. Okay, we did this from a cross-functional standpoint. And what I mean by that is we did not do this inside of a vacuum or inside of a silo. We made sure that we got input from academics, from the police department, emergency management, and also to facilities so that we can create a process that works for everybody. As Nina mentioned earlier, there are several buildings that to this date need to be named. Going forward, all building requests need to be made to myself or primarily to George or Jorge Serralta, who's the process owner, before a building can be named. It's very important that we do that we drive process adherence. As you can see here, this right here is a process map. For those of you who've gone through the Lean Fundamental training, you know what this is. We're in the process now of trying to set up some time to have the board go through the fundamental training. But a process map serves two purposes. It visually represents the steps and series of steps of a process. Also, too, it shows the process flow. Okay, I don't want to get too far into it because I don't want to spoil it until you come to training. All right? So our process owner for the building designation process is Jorge Serralta. He's also, too, the district manager of architectural services. He works on the Nina Petty's organization. He also, too, is our process manager. I'm going to let him come through and talk a little bit briefly, as I underscore briefly, about the process.
Good evening, Chancellor Hadley and board members. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to be here. And I'm going to be very, very briefly, as you mentioned. Up to date, I just wanted to add that up to date, we have put a building through this process, specifically the new facility at Alliance Airport. And we have one on deck, which will be the Visual and Performing Arts Center when the time comes. Thank you.
That was brief.
I promise I was going to be brief.
Can we read it red? Okay, thanks. I like it. Very nice. I've had 7 people tell me to be very brief, so. The next thing we'd like to talk to you about is some of the improvements that we've been making in the Human Resources Department. You know, within process improvement, there are 2 people. There's myself and then my director, Mike Eek. And we've been tasked by the Chancellor to drive a culture of change throughout the district. So one of the things that we've done when we first came here was to set up some goals. And really our primary goal is to, 1, train all faculty and staff in lean fundamentals. And then step 2 is help drive continuous improvement and drive process improvement throughout the district. So, thank you very much. Okay. So one of the first projects that we took on was the hiring process. You know, oftentimes we hear that the hiring process is pretty challenging, okay? And so our goal was really to identify what really does that mean, and is it really challenging? So the first thing that we did is we actually created an objective, and our objective was to reduce the time to hire somebody from 30 days to 10 days, or excuse me, to reduce the time it takes to process a posting and a proposal from 30 days to 10 days. Okay, it's very important to establish an objective before you take on any type of project. Okay, first thing we did in addition to that was create a project team of myself, Ebony Alexander, Dr. Ricardo Coronado, and Ebony's team. Okay, so it's very important that we do that. So after that, this is not working. Okay, here we go. We applied the 5-step lean process. Once again, for those of you who have actually gone through the training, you know what the 5-step lean process is. If you haven't gone through the training, please sign up for the class. Okay? We primarily focused on the first 2 steps. Step 1 is correctly defining value from the customer standpoint. Within that step, it's very important to identify who our customers are and to establish a level of communication with them so that they can complain to us or let us know what doesn't work well. Step 2 is we went through, we process mapped our process, we identified the areas of waste, and then we focused on eliminating those areas of waste. So, in step 1, I mentioned defining value means identifying who our customers are. We went through and identified both internal and external customers within the college who utilize the hiring process, as you can see listed right here. Then the next thing we did is we held what we call as a voice of the customer feedback session, okay? And the intent was really just to ask people what problems or what pain were they experiencing with the hiring process. Okay, so we asked them what works well, what doesn't work well. Unfortunately / fortunately, there was a lot of things that they expressed to us needed to be improved. Okay, from that we were able to identify 3 areas of focus. Okay, those 3 areas are adding additional training, making some system upgrades by working with our vendor, and then also to reducing the amount of approvals within the system. Okay, so as in step 2, as I mentioned earlier, we're supposed to go through and eliminate waste. First thing we do in doing that is we map out the process, the existing process, and we identify the areas of waste. And that's what we did right here. I won't go into too much detail because Reg is looking at me. Okay, and then what we do is we identified an improved process. Okay, we put that together as a team. I didn't put it together, or Ebony did not put it together. We took more of the team approach. Okay, and effective as of January 10th, based off of our efforts, we were able to take out 8 approval steps within the hiring process. In addition to that, we were able to make some minor system upgrades. Okay, now, so we put a process in place. So the next question then becomes, how do we know that the process is working? Okay, and as we go forward throughout the year, we'll be able to get additional data so we can take a look at that. But I did want to show you guys something which I think is very important. By really taking a look at the data, we were able to see that in September 2012 to February 2013, it took on average 108 days to hire somebody. Okay? But let's go further. February 2012 to May 2013, we went from 108 days to 85 days. May 2013 to August 2013, we went from 85 days to 52 days. And then most recently, the last quarter of 2013, we went from 52 days to 43 days. That's the average time that it takes to hire somebody. So once again, by taking a look at that data, we can see that there have been significant improvements in our efforts, okay? And I'd like to give special recognition to Dr. Coronado and the HR team with Ebony Alexander on the recruitment side. Because keep in mind, this is information that speaks to how they've been performing before the changes were implemented, okay? So we're doing a dynamic thing by identifying how we can, embrace a mindset of continuous improvement within the organization. So the total reduction in time to hire since 2012 of September has been 60%, all right? So we're making some dynamic improvements. Big round of applause. So, do you guys have any questions, Chancellor and the board, or anybody else that you'd like to ask myself or Ebony Alexander?
we would congratulate you on your progress and look forward to continuing that.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for your
much.
efforts.
Thank you.
It represents all of us well.
Thank you.
And I want to add my appreciation to the team for this. I know that you've been working really, really hard. One of the complaints that we get from people on a regular basis is how long it takes for them to get into Tarrant County College, and we've had that problem for a long, long time. So we do appreciate your tackling that. Keith, Ebony, Ricardo, thank you so much for all the wonderful work that you've done on this, and I'm going to expect to see that number go down a little bit more. Okay?
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ebony, do you have anything you need to add? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, Madam President?
Yes,
Back
continuing.
to you. Yes, ma'am.
We're hiding back here behind some new, bigger screens, so sorry, we'll have to all raise our chairs here after a bit. All right, board action items. Item number 5, the approval of the minutes of the meeting of January 16th. Motion to approve, please. Second. Motion by Dr. Morrison, second by Mr. Heed. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda item, consideration and approval of delegation for Chancellor to approve and sign electrical energy contracts for 2018-2020. Motion to approve. So Mr. Carter and Ms. Vandergrift seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Thank you. Committee reports, audit and finance. Mr. Carter.
Haven't had a meeting. We will have one in the next 40 days or so.
Governance, we worked the agenda. It's before you. Institutional planning, Mrs. Vandergrift.
We met on Tuesday, and Nina's team with Margaret Sutton and Julie were there to give us a status on not only the Performing Arts Center, but also took us through the Innovation Forum in a more detailed way and the naming conference. And so it was very educational, and we just need to keep on educating ourselves on this new process because it's going to work great. And then we have the update on the Performing Arts, or the Center of Excellence for Visual and Arts.
Performing Arts.
Performing Arts. Oh, sorry. But we'll look forward to Nina's report on that in April. Thank you.
And all of you should have received a very colorful, bright email today, towards the end of the day, about the open houses for the Innovation Forum. So that was mentioned earlier. I hope you can attend at least one of those. We've added a new committee to our list, the 50th Anniversary Planning Committee. Dr. Morrison.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm excited to report that we will launch the work of this new committee on Monday, March 3rd, as we begin to plan for our Golden Jubilee. There's a role for each and every one of you to play in that, and you'll be getting your assignment shortly. Thank you.
There are no committee recommendations, so item number 10, consideration and approval of final deductive change order with V&P Struhs joint venture for Trinity River Campus Skyway glass replacement.
Ms. Petty?
Yes, good evening again. Yes, we're asking for approval to take in a credit of $78,679 as the final deductive change order on our Skyway glass replacement at the Trinity River East Campus. If there's... Thank you.
And Mr.
Appreciate
Heed
that.
seconds that. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item number 11, consideration and approval of job order contracting general contractor agreement with Struhs Commercial Construction to install fencing at the TCC Opportunity Center and Ramey Place neighborhood.
Madam President, before Ms. Petty asks for approval or presents that to you, I just want to let you know that we are so very, very, very pleased to have this item on the agenda tonight. As you know, we've been working with this project for quite a long time. We bought the property adjacent to our TCC Opportunity Center from the church across the street, and they entered into an agreement with us to buy that property in good faith. We learned, of course, as we began to work on it, that we could not buy it because it had been deed restricted for religious purposes only. And since we have no religious services at TCC Opportunity, at least none that I know about, Opportunity Center, we didn't qualify to own the land. And of course, it was very important to you as board members that we did acquire that land, and we worked with the homeowners association in that area to help us get the signatures that were necessary for us to be able to buy that land. Without those signatures, we could not have done that. And I believe we have two people in the audience tonight from the Ramey place. One of them is Councilwoman Gina Bivens, who represents that area, District 5 in Fort Worth. I don't see her. I tell she's back there. She's not here. Jeff Cooper, who is the president, where is Jeff, of the Neighborhood Association. If you'll stand up and let us thank you, because you have done so much to help us get to where we are today. So thank you, sir. And now Nina is going to present. Her staff has done a yeoman's job of working with this project, and they've come up with an absolutely beautiful fence that we will have to mark our property, if you will.
Did we have a picture of that, Reg, or not?
Yeah, and it's, scroll on down, and it's in our packet as
Great.
well.
So if you want to show a picture.
Shelley,
this
would
is-
you go ahead and show the picture while
And
Nina
the staff
finishes that one?
recommends that the Board of Trustees approve this with Struhs Commercial Construction, who are one of our JOC contractors. They are 100% MWBE, and they are partnering with a MWBE subcontractor. And the amount is for $497,908.37, and we would appreciate your
Motion to
consideration.
approve. Dr. Morrison, seconded by Ms. Vandergriff. Any discussion? It's an attractive fence. We were presented a photo. I'm a little concerned about its resistance to graffiti. It looks like a porous material. Was that part of the consideration?
Gary, where's Gary Prather?
Prather has left, no, I don't
he's
say
there.
that. He's left the building.
Shelley, can't find it?
I'm sorry, Gary, you're going to have to come to the front.
Didn't get it.
There's not much we can do about graffiti. Naturally, it's a concrete fence, so it will be easy to cover. If we can put some sort of finish on it, that sealer that will keep it from taking graffiti and holding it. But again, we deal with this on a daily basis throughout the district, so we don't concern ourselves much with that.
I actually think it would be hard to do graffiti on, because it's not a flat.
No, it's not going to be what they really want to do their work on.
It's not ideal for artwork. There's other surfaces that would be much better.
Yeah, why was this particular construction material used as opposed to, say, a chain link fence or?
Restrictions, city restrictions.
Yeah, okay, all right. Code, yeah.
I think we have the project manager in the house. Is that not right, Victor? Victor Jones with, right over here. Stand up, Victor. He'll be the one managing the project for Struhs.
Not sure if you're...
Is that me?
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the fence at $497,908.37, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Approved. Passed. Item number 12, sorry. I was waiting for you to do something. Consideration and approval of the Interlocal Purchasing Systems Cooperative Agreement with Texas Air Systems to provide chillers for Northwest and Southeast campuses in the amount not to exceed $730,000 and $730,097.
We appreciate your approval on this very important thing this summer coming up.
Motion to approve, Dr. Morrison, a second.
Second.
Mr. Carter, any discussion, questions? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 13, consideration and approval of agreement with Texas A&M University Engineering Experiment Station to perform Phase 2A continuous commissioning services at Trinity River Campus in an amount not to exceed $360,000. Motion to approve. Ms. Vandergriff, second by Dr. Morrison. Any discussion?
I still don't see the wisdom of doing this prior to the Chevron research work. I know they say it's a check, but they can say, yeah, we love what you did, or we don't love what you did, and it's 360 down the drain. I think we should delay it.
Ms. Petty, you want to explain the?
I've heard the explanation.
Other comments?
Yeah, I question whether or not this is needed. We have some very excellent people on staff that can do the same kind of work. Why do we need this? I mean, this expenditure of $360,000, that's something we could use in-house. And why can't our in-house people do the same job?
Well, I'd explain it like this. Last month, you had the benefit of having David Holke and Walt Williams, who are two experts in this arena, come up and visit with you about some of the things they've got working on, including the Chevron project. This month, when we presented this, normally we do a summary that's about a page long. In this month's packet, I hope you were able to read the 4-page document that we added to this that I hoped explained. And I think it's really, if you go to page 3 on that, under the ramifications, it's clearly sort of noted in the 3 points. Back in March of last year, as a board, you approved us using Texas A&M's Engineering Experiment Station to provide this third-party measurement and verification. And it really boils down to the fact that they bring tools and knowledge to the district. It would be like asking Mr. Holke and Mr. Williams to recreate a tool like Google when it's already been done and proven and used by A&M. Candidly, our team doesn't have the bandwidth to be able to do what they're bringing to the table. So when you approved it last March to allow us to do it, we spent $90,000 and they prepared a study for us. That study gave us recommendations. Those recommendations are in the contract that you would be approving tonight to do the things that would save us energy at approximately a 2-year payback. So you're actually paying $360,000 to get a payback of about $175,000 to $200,000 a year per year annually. The reason that this is important on the beginning of, because we've been really working on this for over a year, is to prepare us better for taking on a Chevron project. You heard the Chancellor say earlier that we delayed doing something with Chevron for 3 years. That's correct, because we were really not poised and ready to bring on a group like that and be able to evaluate, measure, and verify what they're bringing to the table. This makes 2 very smart individuals that you heard last month be, quite honestly, smarter about what we do, and it will allow them to evaluate what Chevron's bringing to the table for you by being able to measure and verify what they're doing, in addition to the savings that you're getting. So as we've kind of laid out, it's been in motion for over a year. It will generate quick, large-scale savings immediately. It will help minimize students, faculty, and staff comfort immediately. If we delay this, it just continues to have issues at the Trinity River campus. And it will focus our internal staff to be able to verify what Chevron's doing moving forward. We really thought about this a year ago as an important step before we brought Chevron on. So we look at it as a very holistic approach and not an either-or in any way, shape, or form. So I hope that answered your questions. But
Did they bring up specific recommendations?
Yes, they did. Absolutely.
Okay. What is, now that we know what those recommendations are, what would be the possibility of putting out an RFP to get contractors to bid on those specific recommendations?
Now I'm going to need Walt Williams to come up and answer the specifics on that.
Mr. Heed, I believe that that's possible. It's always possible to bid out anything, excuse me. But we came into this trying to form a team, and the best team that we could form to meet the needs of the district in this project. These folks are the best. Are you familiar with ASHRAE? That is American Society of Heating, Ventilation, and Air Conditioning Engineers. If you go through the list of authors on chapters in their manuals, these are the people that wrote that stuff. They're the best, and they're accessible.
and we think it's the best team to put together to make sure, for one, the strategy is the best strategy we're going to use to save energy, period, in this district. Beyond that, their capabilities in measurement and verification is going to keep us out of trouble with the Chevron project. It's going to give somebody else, independent, who wrote the book on how this stuff is determined, at our disposal, on our team. And that was the reason for selection. We couldn't take, I don't believe, their direct recommendations and hand somebody their report. We could go through another process and do that, but again, that's time. And the longer we wait, the less we save.
I'm confused about the timing of this. You talk about two projects. We heard about Chevron for the first time, for me at least, at the last meeting. And so what you're talking about is, right now, you've got two things working at the same time. I mean, you're assuming that we're going to approve the Chevron project, which to me is not a...
Yeah, I'm personally not.
No.
No, I don't believe that's the assumption, and that's part of
Well,
the
you're
issue.
talking about Chevron and A&M all at the, to me, in my mind, you're talking it in the same context, in the same.
Well, that's what I think we're trying not to do. If we do go with Chevron, then naturally there'll be a marriage or some meeting in between. We went into this, the start of this project, Chevron hadn't even, gotten, I guess, down to my level as far as somebody telling me to talk to them. So no, we're not trying to say that Chevron is a done deal. It's going to be an evaluation. You're going to get an assessment, and you're going to evaluate the pros and cons of it. This other one is something, again, that we've had in a while, and we think it's a slam dunk, to be truthful.
And perhaps it would be helpful to point out that this project with A&M is unique to the Trinity River campus, whereas Chevron addresses the entire district.
Yes, in scope it is currently. Now, again, it'll be a key strategy because it's a good strategy, and that's whether Chevron does it or A&M does it. But A&M, in my mind, is the best, and that's why we chose them, because they were accessible and they're the best.
And what Chevron is doing is different from what A&M would be doing.
We don't know quite what Chevron's going to do.
Because Chevron is just doing an assessment at this
Correct.
point. So
Right.
we'll wait to hear what their recommendations
Correct.
are.
Madam President, if I may weigh in slightly here, I was being quiet for a reason. But the A&M study, the people from A&M came up to do an assessment, if you will, to look at some issues that we had. They gave us their recommendation, and their recommendation was to address those issues. Basically, Chevron would do the exact same thing. They would come up and they would look at, rather than just look at Trinity River campus, because we do have some rather serious issues there, especially with the glass in the Riverfront Cafe and some other places. The building is beautiful, but it also brings some pretty big challenges. And so because of that, and because Nina and her team were getting all of these complaints, they brought in the experts, as Walter has said, to take a look at it. They determined what should be done to fix it, and we've already paid them to do that. We paid them to do the study. And now they've given us recommendations for fixing it, and their recommendation would be about $360,000. Now, if you decide that you want to do that, when Chevron comes and does the full assessment for the district, they're telling you that they'll have benchmarks by which to measure the Chevron recommendations if they go with the A&M. Now, I raised the first question, I think, with them was, why would we spend, at the time it was $400,000, why would we spend $400,000 if we are waiting for Chevron to do a report? They'll come back, if they're any good at all, with recommendations to remedy the problems at Trinity River. And if you as a board decide you want to do all of those things, you pay for that all at the same time. That was my concern. Your decision tonight has to do with whether or not, I think, you want to use the $360 as a measurement, if you will. It gets the work done that we need at Trinity River, and as I see it will be a two-pronged approach. They will get the work done, but they will also give them some metrics to use in evaluating what Chevron is going to do for the college, or what Chevron, I should say, proposes to do for the college, because when they bring back their assessment, then I'll bring it to the board and you'll decide whether or not you want to embark upon that program. So that's really what it's about. If you vote tonight to do this, you're not wasting any money. You would be agreeing to spend it now. You're going to spend the money one way or the other eventually, even if you don't do Chevron. My guess is some of these issues are at the point where they need to be addressed. And so that's the decision that you have to make tonight is, do you want to spend the money now and let A&M do that work, or do you want to wait, see what Chevron is going to present to us, and decide then whether you want to spend that money plus other monies or anything?
I actually have more faith in A&M than I do in the Chevron group, but it just seems to me an unneeded redundancy. Maybe we should do the Trinity project and ask Chevron not to include that campus in the study.
Yeah, we would. That would not be part of their scope.
I'm getting clarification. This is good. Okay.
Does that make sense? I mean, why would we have them study what we've already studied, and if we're happy with what? And I'm not complaining. I'd actually rather do the A&M stuff, but I don't want to do both.
No, we would not. This scope would not be in the Chevron.
So we would take Trinity out of it. Well, we didn't say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so if we stopped A&M and put it in Chevron, we would.
I'm fine with that then.
And there was about a 2-year payback on this $360,000.
Shelley, can you scroll down to about page 3 in the report?
Page 3
And that's what I was trying to point out earlier, Mr. Curtis, that this project, the A&M project, is unique to the Trinity River campuses only.
Well, I know that, but when we're saying we're going to use it for checkpoints, well, Chevron might love everything we did, they might hate everything we did, but we've already done it and spent the money. But, I have faith in A&M, but I don't see any reason for Chevron to come back and do repeat this analysis of the Trinity campus if we're happy with what A&M does.
Mr. Carter, I think they're talking about, when they say use it as checks, they're looking at methodology. That's what I'm thinking. You're saying they could use the methodology and on their own decide, we think Chevron has given us a very good proposal here. We think Chevron has not given us a very good proposal.
Yeah, and to be clear, that this is only on 2 of the towers at Trinity River and the central plant. So there's other opportunities there as well. We just wouldn't duplicate them.
That's fine with me.
Okay, so why would, if we do decide to do A&M, why wouldn't we ask A&M do the rest of the buildings, the rest of the campuses versus Chevron?
We might.
Well, okay.
It depends on what Chevron tells us. You remember one college district, they did the complimentary review and told them they didn't need anything.
That's right. I mean, there is no foregone conclusion at all on Chevron. As you heard Walt say, it's a wait and see what we get. Again, this helps us verify and measure them. If they come up with something great, I think the issue with Chevron is they have access to some capital if they come up with projects, and that might be an opportunity there. But I am confident that our team has been doing quite well on a lot of the projects around the district, and it's going to be interesting to see what Chevron will come up with.
And you will recall the Chevron assessment is at no cost to TCC.
Right.
So after Chevron does their analysis, would we then
Bring it back to you for your evaluation.
But also, would we invite A&M to also give us an evaluation?
The plan is, even if we go with Chevron or whomever, is to use A&M as the measurement and verification body as a third party outside of that relationship between us and Chevron.
And Chevron knows that. We've had discussions. They understand completely where we are and where the lines are with it, and they're comfortable with that. That's not unusual, I think, with other districts having other activities going on, and they're used to partnering in that style.
Madam Chairman, do you need a motion?
We have a motion and a second, and Dr. Morrison 3 times has called for the question. All those in favor of calling for the question, aye.
Aye.
All those in favor of the motion, excuse me, to approve an agreement with Texas A&M University Engineering Experiment Station, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 14, consideration and approval of alternate data center for disaster recovery agreement with AT&T Data Center Operations Group in the amount of $316,260 for a period of 36 months. Mr. Marshall.
Marshall.
Thank you. When we purchased Radio Shack, we also purchased a world-class data center, and that took the place of one that was at the other end of the spectrum. It was a surprise when I saw it. It's in the basement of one of the buildings in Northeast. I think it even has a dirt floor. So, just think of a data center with a dirt floor. The state of Texas mandates for institutions of our size that we have off-site facilities for critical systems in case something happens to the wonderful data center we have in at the Trinity River Complex. So whether it's a power event, a tornado, a flood, you have to have alternate site operations, and you don't house everything there, but you house a small subset of what are critical to the institution, your student records, your employee records, email, and some other critical applications. This will allow us to move quickly into a purpose-built facility that AT&T rents out just for this activity. And the period is for 36 months. Any questions?
Motion to approve. Mr. Heed, second. Mr. Carter, any discussion, questions of Mr. Marshall? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? You got it.
Thank you.
Mr. McClendon.
Good evening again. I wanted to make a short synopsis, and then we'll go through every item. We do this because we want the board and we want the public to see how the board has told us how to manage their money and how good a stewards we are. But first of all, I'm thinking of always new styles, so I'm going to give you a synopsis of the month, and then we'll go by the items. The first thing we wanted to say is we received $74 million in tax money this month. We saw something I enjoyed. I look at all the balance sheets. I don't talk about them. But we did see about $200,000 in the professional pilot program. And that was a very welcome thing. It means the pilot program is coming right along. I like it. I'm a skeptic. But when I see money in the bank, I feel it. I feel better, ma'am. We did pay this month about $1.2 million on property taxes for the Radio Shack property. We looked at our cash position, and it's strong. It is a strong position, and we look at our revenue. It is also strong, but it's right on budget, as we expected it. We looked at our expenses, and they're right on target. So now we try to give you the components. So as we mentioned before, what we do is we look at we kind of take the number of months, we divide it by 12, and we come out to a percentage, and we look at the revenue or expense, and anything that falls beyond a percentage, we'd go ahead and take a look and try to explain it to you. So, for example, on the revenue side, you'll see that the interest return is on 289%. That is not my work. I mean, I'd like to take credit, but what it is basically that's an adjustment. We tell you that you continuously see unfavorable adjustments when interest rates go down, and when you see it the other way around, you should not be surprised. These are accounting entries when you do mark-to-market entry. That's why you'll find such a high percentage. But if we look at the revenue at a whole, you're looking at a 70% you have received versus what you should have is 50%. So it means your revenue position is strong. We as an institution, compared to some of my past positions, the revenue is highly predictable, and this is a great thing for an institution to have. Okay, so now we're going to move to the expense side of the house. Okay, So the first item we see is information and technology service, and what we do is we see, you'll notice it's about 52%, that's a little bit higher than we have, and what it has prior period year expenditures, prepays, and we have encumbrances. So that's why it's trailing a little bit higher than it should. If we go to item number 2, that's exactly what I mentioned. If you look at the tax administration, it's sitting on 61% rather than 51. That's where we paid the taxes, and it's a year thing. So you're showing a higher item there. If we go to number 3, which is the insurances, and we know that these are basically our general liabilities, and we have prepays. And so we're showing it covers more than one period, and that's why you're showing 87% versus somewhere where it would be with 52%. If we look at mail and telephone, that's the same thing. We have the internet, we have an encumbrance for the whole year, okay? If we look at the facilities leases, most of this, they're encumbered for the whole year again. So you're showing more, period. If we look at network communications, no, let's go down to general and clerical and duplication. Again, we have Denatech, as we know that contract, it shows the encumbrances for one total year. Okay? So now we'll go to the next page. If we look at item number 7 is custodial services. Again, that's encumbered for the whole year. Warehouse and vehicle expenses, and we see those are encumbrances for the year. Insurance, property, and auto, they're paid for the total year. And utilities, we have that for the year. So if the board would like, I have mentioned it, all the items that encumbered. So next month, what we'll do is we'll only, and we numbered it so that we'll only show the new. If there's something that falls out of line that's new, then we'll do it, unless you want me to repeat this every month. I'm happy to do. No, okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Heath.
Regarding the property tax, that is on the Radio Shack towers.
Yes.
Didn't they get a tax abatement?
Yeah, that's a good point, in that it took a while to go ahead and discuss the reduction in the taxes, and there is. From what we had initially planned to what it is today, there is a reduction from what we had, and yes, it went through a whole process, and that is correct. So it is lesser than what we had before.
And it was 1.2 million?
That's exactly what we paid, yes, sir.
Are we paying taxes
For them?
the footprint where Radio Shack is?
We are,
They pay their own taxes
Right.
on that.
And we pay for ours.
Yeah, our part is tax exempt, where
Right.
they are is not tax exempt. Isn't that right, Angela?
That's right. So why is,
Yeah, why,
so
if
what's the
they
1.2?
pay their own taxes,
Whose taxes are those?
we are
Where's
the.
Nancy? Nancy, is that money that they pay included in the payment for us, or do they pay it direct? Nancy, come to the microphone, please.
Please come to the microphone, Nancy.
She hates the microphone.
The 1.2 you saw today we pay is the taxes, Tarrant County collect the tax for us. So every parcel, like our house, we have to pay tax. They charge us like 50 cents per account or something, 1.2 million. It's the Tarrant County collect the tax
Oh,
for
we're paying-
us. We pay, Tarrant County collect the tax for us, so we have to pay tax to them. There's assess fee, kind of like assess fee. Like they charge you tax on your house. Okay, after they collect the tax, they will pay tax to us. That's the fee they collect, charge us. And so is the tax appraisal office. They will
No,
charge
I
us.
don't think that's Mr. Heath's question. I don't think, his question is about the taxes on the property that we own at Trinity River campus.
Okay, because we lease to them. If we lease them, it's not non-profit, so they have to charge us tax. we don't have to tax our own property. We
Right.
tax it, but
And
they
the
pay-
amount of the lease includes the taxes that they need to pay. Is that not correct, legal counsel? So, Mr. Heed, they pay
I
us,
understand that now.
and then we pay, yeah.
Okay, I just had never heard
Yeah, I
it
think my
expressed
recollection
that
too is that it was part of the original negotiation where we talked about we paying taxes, they pay taxes. So we arrived at a lease rate for them that would accommodate the taxation, so.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So it doesn't cost us anything in essence. We're not paying their taxes, they're paying.
No, ma'am, it's a cost of doing business. That is correct. You're getting a 4.2, and it is the way any other questions? All right, thank you.
Are you going to do the investment?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I got sidetracked. That is, thank you for noticing, Mrs. Allen.
Oh, I couldn't go to home without
I am
it.
so sorry. I apologize. Okay. On our investment sides, what we want to show, this was, if you look at it, I just talked about the $74 million. There it is. You're showing your $62 million that went into pool money. And so it's taken you from a book value of 107, you've got $62 million. The difference between what you use and the 62 is what you use to run your business. And then right now, you've got a market of $170 million in your pools. Our U.S. agencies have about $129 million, giving us a total cash of $300 million that we have at the end of January 31st. If you compare our basis points against the 13-week T-bill, we're 34 basis points better. If you look at it against the 26 T-bill, we're looking at 31. When we look at the U.S. agencies, we're still, I asked, I had a chance, and we had on the campus, we had Mr. Weinstein, which is an economist who does a lot of work at SMU, said, are we still looking at the same rates? And he says, at this point in time, I'm not seeing a major growth rate in our interest rates. They are trailing higher. We're seeing something, but I'm not seeing a major rate growing. So these are the kind of things that we're seeing, and we also see in short-time strips. In other words, if you get a higher interest rate, they'll give it to you for a long time, and then they recall them. This is what we're seeing today. Okay? Thank you.
Questions, comments? Moving on to, thank you, Mr. McClendon. Moving on to the Chancellor's report.
Madam President and board members, I'd like to call your attention to just a few things. The report is pretty comprehensive. Pardon me. You see all these wonderful things that our campuses have been doing, and I certainly want to appreciate all of the work that they do along with the other vice chancellors. And I've just highlighted a couple of things, one thing from each campus that I want to call to your attention, and leave the rest of it for your good bedtime reading. But on our Northeast campus, I want to mention the students from the Organization for Latin American Students under the leadership of their sponsor, Natalia Verjat, who were presented with a certificate of appreciation for their work with the Immigration Counseling Services of Dallas and what they've done in the community. One of the things that we always really appreciate is the community service that our students give. We think that's a major part of the education that they receive while they're here with us. On our Northwest campus, I want to highlight Troy Barber, a former Northwest campus chemistry student who earned a prestigious internship with the National Science Foundation Research Experiment undergraduates in aquatic sciences at the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. That's a great accolade for that student at our Northwest campus, and especially for his mentor instructor. On our and Mrs. Appleman wants to add something else, that selected from approximately 40 college and university submissions, the TCC Northwest Theater Department will be the only two-year college performing during the festival. That is quite and that's not the first time that's happened. We've had students from various campuses where they were the only community college selected. We have a great performing arts program throughout the district, which is another reason why we want to create that center of excellence. I put a word in everywhere I can for that. Thank you, Ms. Appleman. On our South Campus, I just want to highlight on January 25th, 309 Generation Hope laptop program participants attended the annual TCU College Reach program. Generation Hope is a STEM-based program that we have taken over from Commissioner Roy Brooks. He asked us, we have been working with him for pretty much the life of the program. And those students are really, really great students. They're all in STEM programs, and we're very pleased to be able to partner with community organizations such as that, take them over where we can, and grow those into programs that we need for Tarrant County College. And so I wanted to mention that to you. On our Southeast Campus, talking about STEM again, we had students from the STEM program in the area 6th through 12th grade students participating in the Texas Alliance for Minorities in Engineering, which is an annual math and science competition to be held at the Southeast Campus on February the 8th, which just passed. I see Mike Sonattle in the room. Dr. Polo, of course, as I said, is away. Was that a successful event? Very good, very good. Thank you. At our Trinity River campus, I want to highlight 5 students in the class of Marcia Johns attended a leadership class, Women Influencing Business Luncheon, to hear Kelly Fisher, who is the CFO of Texas Rangers. And again, we appreciate all the time when our faculty members work with our students and get them involved in things outside of the classroom, because we all know that so much learning takes place there. Dr. Morales is reporting that e-learning has 40 new to online faculty members in certification training this spring. The current session began January 27th and will end March 23rd. And also there are 7 new online courses being developed that will add to 5 different programs and 34 training as additional online instructors as we get ready to really ramp our online offerings up. That's very good. Dr. David Wells reports that they have finalized 2 articulation agreements with Tarleton State University honors program for our Cornerstone students, and that is really outstanding. Dr. Wells, thank you for that. Reginald Gates reports that the Chancellor's Emerging Leaders for this year are doing very well. That class started in the fall with 96 students. The spring, we retained 86% of those students. That's above our normal retention rate. Our normal retention rate from one semester to the next is somewhere in the high 70s, and this one is 86%. And more importantly, perhaps than that, or just as important as that, is the impressive grade point averages that these students are reporting. 12 students had a 4.0, 26 had a 3.0, 31 had above a 2.0, so they're doing very well. So a very special thank you to the campus presidents and all their staff who do the majority of the work with these students on a day-to-day basis, and we really do appreciate that. Dr. Gates Black reports that her people are constantly busy. This past year, we disbursed $109,130,960 to our students in financial aid. A part of that, of course, was in Pell Grant, the majority of it. $32 million of it, however, was in Stafford loans. And I mentioned the federal Stafford loan program because, as some of you may have heard me say before, we watch our default rates very closely. We have nothing to say about the eligibility of a student to get a loan. We have nothing to say about the amount of the loan they get yet. We are held responsible for default rates. It's a very interesting phenomenon. If the default rate gets above 30%, colleges get a warning. If we don't do something to help get the default rates down, we jeopardize the ability of all of our other students to borrow money. Every time I have an opportunity to talk with our elected officials, our Congress people, every time I'm in D.C., or even when I see them here, I constantly remind them of the fact that we need to work on fixing that some kind of way. I might have mentioned that the federal government finally gave permission to the Kentucky State technical colleges to experiment with the student financial aid disbursement. I don't think the loans were included in that, but they have gotten permission to disburse the money as the students show progress and not give it all to them at the front side the way the law now requires us to do. We're required to give it to students 10 days prior to the start of classes, and in some cases students show up for classes and they have spent all their money. They haven't bought books or whatever, and they are in deep trouble. So hopefully with the pilot that the state of Kentucky is able to do, we might be able to get some good out of that. In addition, Dr. Gates Black reports that we have 5,352 students who are enrolled this semester who are within 12 hours of graduation. And that is really, really good news. We began tracking students who were close to graduation last year. I don't recall the number that we were able to find and help to make sure that they graduated. But as you can see, the numbers are pretty dispersed around the campuses of students who are very close to graduation. And we're hoping that we can increase that. The work that this team did is responsible for the very large increase we had in the number of degrees and certificates conferred this past May. And so, you know, as we move to as we are into our success points, the number of students we graduate will mean more points for us, which would bring more dollars to us. The only thing that I will highlight on my activities, and they have been many as they usually are, I'll highlight the day on January 17 when many of you helped Dr. Coppola and his team celebrate with the naming of our library on that campus to the Julius J. Carrier Library. It was absolutely a wonderful event, a very fitting tribute to one of our colleagues who had really done an outstanding job of helping Tarrant County College get to where it is today. It was a great event for her. I will also tell you that I met with Commissioner Paredes last week, a week before last, in Austin. I don't see it on my report. It's on there someplace. I served as the chair of the committee for formula funding, and he asked to meet with me to go over the recommendations that we had made, that the committee, the whole committee had made. And the committee report was really not just on I think it was 11 of us on the committee, but it was also on behalf of the Texas Association of Community Colleges, because we worked very closely with them as we were preparing our recommendations. I am very pleased that the commissioner was supportive of all of the recommendations that we have. He has a few concerns about a few things, but we had some very good recommendations. We'll see how they come out with the commissioner and his board. But we're hopeful that they will move forward. We did not recommend anything that was drastically different from where we expect things to go, but we did want to make sure that the commissioner understood that we were very concerned about the funding levels for the students who come to us without the ability to pay anything, and we don't get credit like for some of the things we do. You'll recall that those were, is that time for me to stop? Who is that, Kelly? She's sending us signals. You'll recall that there were a few things that were not funded, and that was because the coordinating board doesn't have a good handle on that, but we're still working on that, and things are going very, very well. The other thing that I'll point out to you too, and I guess, I don't know if that's on the agenda, I don't remember, the Association of Community College Trustees, I'll let Mr. Heed and Mr. Greenhill tell you whatever they want to tell you about that. It's the next item from the board's report, so I won't cover that. But I will tell you that I had the great pleasure this morning, well, before I get to that, this week, this Monday, Dr. Eva LeBlanc and President Christina Miranda, President of JCC, and I traveled to Austin, leaving here at 5 a.m. in the morning to get to Austin to attend an institute that was sponsored by the coordinating board, funded by the Houston Endowment, I believe, to discuss the purposes of education, the purposes of higher education. Yes, ma'am, sure did. And it was a very interesting discussion about what students need when they graduate from college and what is the value of a general education, a liberal arts education versus career and technical education. It was a very good debate, if you will. We had good points made on all sides of that issue, and they kept us all day. But we got back home late in the evening. And then finally, this morning, I had the great honor of welcoming the Texas Association of Chicanos in Higher Education. They're meeting here at the Sheraton Hotel across the street. We have a great group of college and a few university, I guess, people from all over the state of Texas. And we had the privilege of having in our audience Dr. Joe May, who is the new chancellor for the Dallas County, not Tarrant, the Dallas County Community College District. And we had Dr. Juan Maldonado, who is the president of Laredo College. Dr. Maldonado worked for Tarrant County College. Some of you may remember him at one time. And, of course, Dr. LeBlanc and Dr. Morales were also there, along with Dr. Coronado, and I guess probably another 25 or 30 of our employees who were there at the time I was there. But we have employees in and out all day. Some were there last night. It started. We're very proud of the work that TACHE does in Texas and with all of our institutions. I told the group this morning I was very proud to be there because as one of the founders of the Texas Association of Black Personnel in Higher Education, I had the honor to work with a lot of the members of TACHE before they started their organization. They came to us and asked if we would help them get an organization started. So I feel like I had a little hand in getting that one started as well. So we were very pleased. Mark McClendon did a great job in helping us to coordinate the support that we are giving TACHE for that. So that ends my report. I will say one more thing. Yesterday, I met with what I thought was going to be 12 people who are members of the Tarrant Area Private Foundation group. It's an organization that meets quarterly. They invited me to come and talk about Tarrant County College. They called me before I got there and said, we've had a lot of other people, when they found out we were having you as a speaker, they wanted to know more about. So we had 17 people who said they were coming for that. It was a very good group. They're all private foundation people. They run their own foundations, or they have private foundation with a few staff, and they were very, very, very interested in all the things we're doing. They would even let me talk. And I told them, I said, I know why you won't let me do a presentation, because some of you have heard me talk before, and you know you would never get a question in edwise. So they said, no, we don't want you to talk. We want you to, well, we do want you to talk, but only after we ask you a question. So they had plenty of questions to ask, and that was a great way to handle that. It was very informal. They learned a lot about TCC, and of course, I could not leave without giving them a folder with a lot of other things to take with them, things that I wanted to say and couldn't say. I gave it to them in writing, so it was a very good meeting for us. So that ends my report.
Sounds like a good group to be in front of.
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Madam Chairman, may I give one more accolade? Some of us, may I?
Yes, sir.
Some of us attended the annual city address by the mayor at the convention center, and part of that program is awards for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, big businesses, startup companies. One of our clients, Troy Bond's team in the community services, one of our clients in the Small Business Association program that we have, was the winner, and it was called Smart Shoot. So congratulations to the SBA team for helping a startup little company, and they won the award at the luncheon.
Very good.
Is Troy here?
Thank you, Mr. Heath, for bringing that up. That's very good. Mr. Greenhill. Mr. Heath's on my left.
Yes, and speaking of Mr. Heath.
He's on my right. You're on my left. How appropriate.
Mr. Heath and Mr. Greenhill accompanied the Chancellor to Washington a couple of weeks ago to attend the legislative session, well, they visited with legislators and received a update on the Association of Community College Trustees Legislative Summit. So I think, Mr. Heed, you're going to present first.
No, I'm going to do that. I'm
You're
sorry,
gonna
I
do
misread the agenda.
Okay.
He's going to talk about something else.
CCAT.
We did it, huh?
The CCAT.
The CCAT, I'm sorry. I didn't read very carefully, but we did go to Washington DC for an abbreviated trip because of the weather. It's a great story of how we got back, but I won't go into that. The Chancellor was a champion again. She got us back. The first day, we had a kind of a general session on, it's called the Higher Education Academy. We had a very good discussion about financial aid. It was called Financial Aid 101. So we went through the entire process and what financial aid is so that we could talk to our congressmen and women about that. What the Chancellor was talking about default rates, is it technically called cohort default rates, or CDRs. And I thought that was the most interesting part of the discussion. We were advised to keep our eye on that and lobby about that if we could. We had a second session was called, and Chancellor's already alluded to this, about higher education in the 21st century's opportunities and challenges for competency-based education. And I had no idea what competency-based education was, but of course you all know what that is, and the Chancellor alluded to it as a part of the future. I had to miss the last session because I'm on what's called the nominating committee of the Western region for the ACCT. We nominate, quote, vet, end quote, nominees for the Western region. Roberto Zarata, our own Roberto Zarata, is up for re-election. He's with Alamo Colleges, and we interviewed him and had a good time, of course, talking with him for an extended period of time. But then we had also talked to Rose Benavides, chair of the Board of Trustees of South Texas College. She's nominated to be on the Diversity Committee. She's a very interesting lady, and we enjoyed talking with her. We had a luncheon, and we were addressed by Norm Ornstein, who is a resident scholar at the American Enterprise Institute, and as an election analysis for CBS News. He had a very dim view of the what he did was talk about the deadlock in Washington and what's going on, and he had a very dim view about what Congress is doing, what the President's doing, basically that we have a parliamentarian system and it's not working. But that was an interesting conversation. We had another session called Community Colleges Priorities Session. There was a general discussion about the legislative agenda for the ACCT. That's a part of my written report. Our luncheon speaker was the mayor of Philadelphia, Matthew Gers. Matthew's his name, and he's an interesting guy. He's the mayor of Philadelphia, but Philadelphia has an education system that permits, the city is engaged in the education system, and he has started a lot of new initiatives in Philadelphia. We also met with Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz and his staff. They were very attentive. Senator Cruz advised us that he is passionate about community college movement, about our movement, about moving people educationally. It was a very interesting conversation, and I was very impressed. The next morning, on February the 12th, we attended the Texas Delegation breakfast, in which we talked about our upcoming annual meeting on June in June of this year. CCATT, the Texas organization is going to become the real deal. Trustee He's going to talk to you about the legislative agenda that we're trying to accomplish. We have a new committee with the coordinating board to make us more recognized with the coordinating board. Trustee Heed?
Yeah, you also ought to mention the debate or conversation between Melody Barnes, who's a former assistant to the president and director of the White House Domestic Policy Council, and Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary under President Bush, and the Chancellor corrected one of Mr. Fleischer's misconceptions regarding how colleges or people who graduate from certain colleges are being looked at, which I thought was absolutely great. I'd like to talk about I'm on the CCAT Legislative Committee, which is the trustee association in the state of Texas. And the Legislative Committee, our purpose is to work with the President's group to come up with a combined list of legislative priorities that we can go together as one voice to our state legislature and promote the priority items. And what we discussed is probably the one we work on the most this year is the Common Course numbering system to ease transfers. And we're going to try to find somebody to sponsor a bill in that regard and try to move that forward. We also talked about unfunded mandates and the expense thereof. A survey will be going out to every community college in the state of Texas to find out what the impact of those unfunded mandates are. Not that we expect to be able to correct them, but when they come up with the next one, we'll have a white paper that allow us to try to thwart that next unfunded mandate. We also talked about articulation agreements to streamline transfers, state funding for working with the independent school districts, success points and working with that system, adding maybe another point or whatever for the students that once they graduate from TCC actually go out and get a job. That's certainly a success point. And another is allowing the community colleges to perhaps give a bachelor's degree in nursing. So, that's it.
Some of you may know about the RAND report, which has been commissioned to look at the need for community colleges to establish the capability of providing baccalaureate degrees in areas of high need and in areas where universities are not able to keep up with the demand. The primary focus, of course, is on nursing. I have not been involved at all in any of those discussions because I don't see a need at Tarrant County College for us to offer a baccalaureate degree in nursing. We have UTA that has a very large nursing program and a very excellent nursing program. TCU has quite a sizable nursing program that is excellent. Texas Woman's University has a great nursing program. So our students don't have any difficulty obtaining a baccalaureate degree, and as such, I have not been among those who is pushing for the ability to offer an associate degree. I consider us as having our hands full with so many other things to get students to the associate degree as well as the certificates of completion before we stick our toe in the water for a baccalaureate degree. And I don't foresee that TCC will need to offer a baccalaureate degree anytime soon. Now, there's a second part of the discussion, and that is what it costs to get for the students, what it costs the students to get that degree. But I think the coordinating board will work on keeping the tuition costs down enough to offset the cost that it would take to gear up for all of these additional baccalaureate degrees throughout the state. So probably won't find a lot of the larger community colleges interested in starting an associate degree in nursing. Maybe a few, but probably not many.
Bachelor's degree.
Excuse me, a bachelor's degree in nursing. And of course, it's being talked more about now because some of the hospitals are moving toward that special certification. What is it, Dr. Fulkerson? A magnet hospital, where they will have, the majority of their nurses will be baccalaureate degree nurses, whereas of course our nurses are associate degree nurses, registered nurses. But there are still going to be plenty of jobs out there calling for ADN nurses. Absolutely. So I think we're in. The last time I had a conversation with Doug Hawthorne, who is now leaving as the CEO of the Texas Health Resources Group, assured me that it's going to be years before they will stop looking at associate degree nurses. Absolutely, years before that will ever happen. So we don't want our students to get upset thinking that coming to us to get an associate degree is going to be a waste of their time. Not so. It's not going to be that way. So board members know that I'm not dabbling my toe in the water on that baccalaureate degree at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Heed, Mr. Greenhill. A lot of good things going on. Ms. Vandergriff, the Chancellor, and I attended, as was mentioned earlier, the retreat of the TCC Foundation last Saturday, and I'll invite them to add to my comments. There was a review of the mission of the foundation, a review of the year's goals, and they've had a very good year. They are particularly focused on community engagement, enlarging their volunteer base, which is their board is an incredible board of friends to the college, and we need to be very respectful of and grateful to them for their interest in us and our efforts. And Dr. Morrison, they want to help with the 50th anniversary. Wonderful. And I think their chairman is going to serve on your committee.
Wonderful. We accept all gifts.
Any additional comments? The Achieving the Dream Core Committee's meeting next month. I think our coaches are going to be here. 3 of us are going to Santa Fe to learn more. You all have gotten emails about the TRIO program, the fine arts schedule, that unfortunately is tonight, part of it, and the invitation to the groundbreaking of the Energy Technology Building. Thank you for that. And then the open houses for the innovative forums. Dr. Fulkerson is being honored as one of 4 ladies. She is the bold woman being honored by Girls Inc. At the end of this month. And the Chancellor, yes, we knew that. We could have told him that. And you remember some months ago we showed you a photo of Chancellor Hadley and the attorney and scientists from SMU who were honored as Texas Trailblazers, and they're part of the KERA, well, actually PBS program of Texas women who are outstanding. And they're going to replay that program to a select group of women on March 27th, and she's being featured once again. So if there is no further business, we will go into closed session for deliberation of real property, Section 551.072 Texas Government Code, deliberation on personnel matters, Section 551.074 Texas Government Code, and consultation with our attorney, Section 551.071 Texas Government Code. We do not anticipate any action at the end of that meeting, so you all are excused, and we'll see you March 20th for the next board meeting, but all these other wonderful happenings in between.
And happy spring break if we don't see you anymore. Faculty especially probably won't see you. Happy spring break.